Hello and welcome to a Green Bay Packer Viking talk show. Oh my God! What the hell is that shirt you're wearing? You can't wear that shirt on the show.
But I'm Viking Moe. I'm supposed to.
Oh, Viking Moe.
You guys have all the Packer stuff in the background, so
We
I
still let
need
you
to.
on the show.
Well,
That's enough.
well, I could take it off. Do you want me to take it off?
Oh no! Don't.
And
Do
then I have this. Is this okay to drink from? Or?
You gross.
Okay, I have beer too.
Nobody. Okay, well that's better.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, welcome in Packer show here with Viking Moe. That's what we do. Packer Viking week. Ben's fired up, and Viking Moe is excited because he has Aaron Jones, the best Packer in the last 20 years or more.
The one time the Vikings actually got a good Packer when they signed him after, because the Packers weren't done with him because he was done. They were done with him because they were dumb.
Right. Well, if you try enough times, you're bound to get a good one.
Yeah, I mean the last big Viking signing following his Packer reign was Dayton Jones.
No.
And,
It was the great Zadarius.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. He was so great.
It's easy to forget about him.
Yeah. Z.
He was not good. I think I have to turn some lights on behind me. You guys talk for a minute.
Okay.
Packers and Vikings talk.
So Mo,
Yeah.
I watched the last Vikings game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I was expecting to see better. With such a big win, I was expecting to see like a little more domination going on, and it wasn't necessarily domination going on. I don't know. It was kind of odd. I saw some flaws there.
Oh, in the drubbing that they gave the Houston Texans. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm talking about the offense.
Oh,
The defense was pretty good. But there's also plays where the defense was just doing something. There's one play they got an interception.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. Like, why C.J. Stroud threw the ball where he did.
because they had him rattled.
Yeah, but 54 and Harry Smith were like in the same exact spot, defending the same exact spot on the field.
Smart.
And C.J. Stroud threw it directly like basically 2 inches away from 54. And 54 was like, oh, sweet, thanks, buddy. And then they picked it off and ran. And I'm like, two guys are covering like within 2 yards of each other.
Are you talking about the first interception?
I think so, yeah. It was like a little...
That one was tipped at the line of scrimmage, too.
Oh, is that why?
Harrison Phillips. Yeah, Harrison Phillips got his hand up.
Okay, well, I didn't watch I wasn't like watching it that great. I was mostly just I just woke up a couple hours ago, and I was like, oh, I better watch the Viking games. I know what I'm talking about.
Good morning.
But, yeah, so I was like, okay, well, I mean, I don't know. This isn't that great. I mean, I thought they're supposed to be so great. They like dominated the Texans. Texans are supposed to be so dang good. C.J. Stroud is supposed to be like the man. And I'm like,
aren't they supposed to be good? Yep. No, he's not good. He's my fantasy quarterback, so he sucks balls.
Good job. You did it. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, they did say that going into the game how good C.J. Stroud was against the blitz. Brian Flores didn't care. He blitzed 64% of the time.
Yeah, but Brian Flores but the difference is this. The thing I love about Brian Flores and his defense is it's not like other defense. Other defenses will have your 4-down linemen, and then there'll be one guy who's standing there like, hey, I might be coming and I might not be coming. And then sometimes he comes and sometimes he doesn't come. Brian Flores, he puts like 8 guys in the line of scrimmage. Yeah. They're all like, I might be coming or I might not be coming.
Right.
And only 2 of them come, and the other like 6 back up. And the offensive linemen are blocking nobody except like one guy has to block a guy and this guy has to block a guy, and neither of them block him. And then the quarterback gets screwed. I don't know why more teams don't do that.
Well, it's funny you say that because I just read today that the Vikings, when they have a defender lined up the line of scrimmage, 45% of the time they drop back in coverage, which is double the amount of any other team in the league. So it's like almost like that. I know they call it like that amoeba defense where you don't know who's kind of on the line, who's not, but he doesn't really. He says everyone's on the line, and you don't know who's going to drop back and who's not, and he just tries to disguise things. But I think, I don't know. I think last year people started to figure him out a little bit.
Yeah, well, the Packers.
He blitzed, and then he'd always play zone behind. So now he's mixing in more man because they didn't really have the corners to do it. Now they got Stephon Gilmore, who's actually been playing pretty good for
Gilmore. He's pretty good. It's pretty good.
So, and they've been able to mix in some more man. and different, looks in the back end. So it's not just, it's just his own blitz. I can just dump it off this guy and be fine. So, and he got a few more players that he likes and that he knows, like Van Ginkel and stuff. So and he's got guys that have been in the system for a year now, so he can do some different things. So so far he's mixing it up pretty good. There's still some times where, it doesn't work, but they're leading the league in sacks right now, team sacks with 16 sacks. They're second in the league in interceptions with 5 for a team. So, and they're only giving up about 70 yards per game on the ground.
Hold on a second. Did you say they were second in the league in interceptions?
Yeah.
Oh, who's first in the league in interceptions?
The awesome Packers, who have matched their full season total of 7 interceptions from all of last year in 3 games.
That's because you played Will Levis.
And so Xavier McKinney signing, well worth it. He's all pro.
You guys didn't like him, and now
I beg to differ.
Jair Alexander. Jair Alexander had his first pick 6 of his entire career, and I think his 11th and 12th interceptions of his career.
Well worth the money. Well worth
it. And the stars are out in Green Bay. So Packer fans. I don't mean to bring you back down to earth, Packer fans, but Packer fans are saying this defense is dominant. If they keep playing like this, the Packers can play anybody and win with any quarterback. Doesn't matter if it's Malik Willis playing quarterback, Jordan Love playing quarterback, whoever, Sean Clifford playing quarterback. We'll bring back Scott Tolzien to play. We don't care. Doesn't matter. This defense, they're just dominant, Ben. Finally, all those first round picks. Jair fulfilling his contract and everything. And Xavier McKinney, the steal of the offseason, Green Bay Packers.
Okay. Well, I watched the game on the All-22. I will say this.
It's somewhere in the middle.
No. It's the offensive line for the Tennessee Titans might be the absolute worst offensive line in the history of football. I mean, even Rashawn Gary looked good against him. Now, Kenny Clark did nothing. So that's not surprising because we all know Kenny Clark is terrible. And even Andy Herman on his show this week where he did his grades, he had to give Kenny Clark was his lowest graded defender. And he's like, I don't know what's going on, Kenny Clark. And then he's even defending his own, like people online are like, well, he gets double teamed all the time. What's he supposed to do? And Andy Herman's like, he's not even getting double teamed and he can't even do jack squat. And it's like, it's true.
Was he even out there? I thought mostly Carl Brooks and
I don't know.
Monte Wyatt were playing a lot more.
All I know is this: Kingsley Enagbare showed why I liked him in the draft, and he fell way too low because he's a technician of moves. And when you go up against an offensive line that's terrible, a technician of moves can get penetration so fast it's not even funny. And he destroyed that guy. He destroyed the inside guys. He destroyed the right tackle. He destroyed everybody. It was amazing. And then after he got destroyed right tackle a couple times, and Preston's like, hey, I want to go over there. And he pulled it to Za'Darius, and then Preston got a pressure and a sack. So, because Za'Darius used to do it all the time. Remember whenever there would be a weak offensive lineman and he didn't know, and he wasn't normally lined up over there, he'd make Preston and him switch so that he could go up against a really terrible one and get the sacks. But
he'd kick anybody out of there, whether it was a guard or whoever, just so he could get his one sack that game.
Right. So what I'm saying is this. It's not terrible. Xavier McKinney has 3 interceptions in 3 games. However, 2 of them were in garbage time at the end of the game where the opposing quarterback is just trying to throw as much. You try to just do something. And he just sat back there and waited for the ball to get thrown and then just picked it off, which, granted, Redmond could never do that when he was a Packer because he was terrible. Right. So this is much better.
Savage
now he's getting paid 26,000 times the amount that Redmond was getting paid. But that's besides the point. And number 2, the other thing that's very concerning for me, especially after watching the Vikings games, is I'm a little concerned about linebacker against the Vikings because the Vikings do a couple things that are interesting and a little kooky on offense. And it works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. There'll be times where they're huddled up, and then they just sprint to the line of scrimmage. And if the opposing team is in man, they're screwed. That's Aaron Jones' touchdown from last week. That's how it happened. Like they sprinted from the huddle to the line of scrimmage, and guys were crisscrossing. They didn't know where. Like the linebackers, like, oh crap, because Aaron Jones lined up at wide receiver, and Justin Jefferson lined up at running back, and it screwed up the whole Texans defense. And the next thing you know, Aaron Jones is, down a crossing road underneath, wide open, and for a touchdown. However, the right tackle got his ass beat, and Sam Darnold almost freaking got his hand tipped when he's throwing it, but it worked. And then there was a play later on in the game where they did the same exact thing, and the Texans were ready for it because I think it was against the zone, and then Sam Darnold got his butt sacked for like a 20-yard loss. So there's things to work on, but the Vikings are not idiots. Kevin O'Connell's good, and Flores is good. So the coaching matchup is not a great one for the Pack. But I will say Matt LaFleur has proven a couple things the last couple of weeks that he's not a complete ding-dong either. And that's good news.
Hey, all right. Well, let's get to this, and then we'll get back to some of our other stuff. Viking Moe's in the house here. Viking Moe, you already brought a Viking fan along with you. I don't know who Oren Paul is. He says, hey, I'm not going anywhere. First-time viewer. Like the format. Wow, we haven't even got into our regular good stuff yet, but we're glad you're here, Oren Paul.
I didn't know we had a format.
We got format and we got good stuff. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we just ramble on and on for like 2 hours straight.
He just said, B-Flow, you're talking about Brian Flores, about to carve up Green Bay like a Thanksgiving turkey. Now, he's jumping Thanksgiving pretty early here.
Yeah.
Brian Flores.
Skipping over Halloween.
I mean, you know,
like
that,
pumpkin,
which is fine. I mean, I like Thanksgiving as much as the next guy.
I do too.
But it is interesting to think the Packers have done some good things against some less than stellar defenses. They've controlled the ball on offense like crazy because they've been running the heck out of the ball. And they've gotten leads, and the defense has been able to go off against these bad offensive lines. And so now everybody in the Packer world thinks that the Packers have the greatest defense in the history of all time. And now all these guys are showing how great they are and all that sort of stuff. So reality is not there. Reality is they're better, I think, than they have been. I'm going to show you a clip about maybe why. But the Vikings defense, Mo, like you talked about all the blitzing, like it can give problems to people and keeping guys guessing. And we know the Packers struggle, especially some of them struggle on figuring out who to block sometimes. So it's probably a good tactic this week, and we'll see if the Packers offensive line can hold up. I don't know if they can.
Yeah, I think what they did in the offseason too, I mean, they let Danielle Hunter go, but they brought in Jonathan Grenard, who had 3 sacks. He was defensive player of the week last week. And they have Van Ginkel. He's got 3 sacks. They have Patrick Jones. He has 4 sacks. They have the rookie in the first round. They picked Dallas Turner, who's got a sack. So they're kind of getting it from everywhere. They rotate those 4 edges in, and they just keep them fresh and keep them coming at you all the time. So that it's just been kind of fun to watch. You know, I'm always, you know, and we talked Jason too last week. I'm always hesitant because I am a Vikings fan, and you get hurt enough times. You learn to curb your enthusiasm a little bit, right?
As well, you should.
Right. When I think about, I mean, they started to figure out Flores last year a little bit, and to his credit, I think he's kind of reinvented some things and trying to keep things different. But so and I think it's smart by the Packers, right? Like, I saw today that Jordan Love's a game time decision. I think it's always smart to make the team prepare for 2 guys, because it's going to be a very different game if Malik Willis is in versus Jordan Love and what to prepare for. It'd be interesting to see if they start Love. Does Willis still get some packages or not? Because he would be pretty effective. But
I would like it.
But defensively, what I worry about, the only team that really could run against the Vikings, it's a small sample size this year, is San Francisco. They ran pretty well. They were physical up front. They had some gaps, and they started to shut it down a little bit in the second half, but they still give up 100 yards rushing to the running back. And so I think if Green Bay can keep that running game going that they've had, that would be obviously in their favor to do so big time, I think. And that's my biggest concern about trying to slow down this Packer offense, whether it's Love or Willis.
Well, who would you rather see? Who would you rather face, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd still rather face Willis. I just don't know what condition Love is in. Love did not look very good in game 1. Willis has actually looked better than him in more ways than one. And I think people forget that guy dropped a pick 6 on Jordan Love week 1 too. It could have been a lot
blasphemy,
worse.
Mo. You can't talk like that about Jordan Love. You can't do that, Mo. What are you doing?
I know, but he just was not good. And so here's the thing. He had a great second half of the season last year. Great, right? His first half, I was talking to you guys, and you guys are like, yeah, he's not the answer. He's not the I mean, everyone was feeling that way because he was really bad. And then all of a sudden, Aaron Jones gets healthy and gets really good. And now look, Sam Darnold's really good. Why? Because he's got Aaron Jones. That's why. Aaron Jones had 148 yards total offense last week with a touchdown, right, Ben?
Yeah. Well, it helps my fantasy team because I had to get him. I took him way too early, but everybody knows Aaron Jones is my guy.
It just takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback. A guy like that.
He is. I watched the game, like I told you, and for the longest, he didn't do anything like spectacular. He didn't have like a 20-yard run for a long time in the game. But you know what? He got some first downs on the ground. He does. I think at least 3 times they called this play where they faked the handoff to him, and then they all like zone block except like the left guard or somebody from the other side of the field away from the run ends up sneaking out a little bit and does like a one-man screen, and then Aaron Jones gets the little dump off pass from Sam Darnold after he fakes the handoff. Then he fakes the handoff, looks over back to the left or the right, whichever way the opposite way Aaron Jones goes, looks that way for a second. The whole defense goes over. They go over here and then like, oh crap. Then they all go over that way. And then boom, then he dumps it off to Aaron Jones. And then Aaron Jones has got that one blocker. And of course he knows how to use that. Then boom, Aaron Jones is going for 20 yards, right? It happened 3 times. One time it didn't work, but 2 times it did. And it got you guys big chunk yardage in the game. So, and then of course we all know that Aaron Jones is great at picking up the blitz. He's great at helping out when there's a problem. He's just super smart. And also he's just a great leader and an awesome guy. But the thing I wanted to talk about, I want to show one play. Okay. I'll get it up here in a second. And it's very interesting. I was actually surprised when I watched this because I don't think I've heard anybody say this, but you never know. So once I get it ready, Jace, just show it to me. It's not about Aaron Jones. It's actually Malik Willis. I just wanted to,
well, I'll just piggyback on Aaron Jones real quick while you try to get it ready. I think what he does is a little more subtle in a lot of ways, because last year I had to watch Alexander Madison try to run through holes, and he's a good athletic guy, but he has to have no vision. And you get these plays, and all of a sudden you run on first down, you're 2nd and 10, you're 2nd and 11, you're 2nd and 9. And I saw so many plays, even just last week, where, they didn't block it up quite right. Should be a 3-yard loss. Aaron Jones turns it into a 2-yard gain. But that makes a huge difference, or a 3-yard gain, right? You're 2nd and 7 instead of 2nd and 12. And I saw that so much last year. And it's subtle things like that maybe don't pop on the stat sheet, but it puts your offense in such a better spot and your quarterback in such a better position on 2nd down and 3rd down. That's, I think, what's helped them a lot too.
I'm going to give you the play in a second, but Aaron Jones, as you were saying before, Ben, he just wants to help people. He's a helpful guy. So he'll pick up the blitz. He'll do whatever needs to be done. Plus, he's an awesome football player and just a great dude. And we'll talk about what he said this week or wrote the letter. Probably made Ben cry, but awesome dude. All right. Play is up. Here we go. What do you got?
Okay. Well, this is that big play, 3rd and 18 pass where Malik Willis changed the play call, or he canned it to this play. Because how many times we watched the Packers and Matt LaFleur is calling dump offs on 3rd and 18 from your own 40-yard line or whatever it is, or 48-yard line. He's not trying to do anything crazy. Aaron Rodgers dumps it off.
So the Aaron Rodgers
Jordan Love dumps it off. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, Malik Willis is like, screw that. And I started here because for some reason my NFL Plus thing, the film is terrible. It was all fuzzy and garbage for the longest time. But if you look here, right at about the 35-yard line, the ball is in the air and it's right here already. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it's right past the 40-yard line and 35-yard line. If you look where the first down marker is, it's back about 5 yards or 4 yards from that. So Jordan Love. Oh my God. Malik Willis threw this ball, well before this. And you're looking here and you got 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders all around where he threw this ball. And the key one is Snead up here, who when this play started, he was actually over at about the 40-yard line, covering the wide receiver. It's kind of in the flat or deeper flat. And he overruns the play and then he falls down. And I thought and he's a good player. And I was kind of like, how did he overrun this play and not know where the ball was? And as you watch, he falls down and he's totally whiffs on everything. He's still on the ground. And then, of course, Christian Watson does this dumb jump in the air thing. And the reason why I'm showing that tight throw, I'm showing you just how tight of a throw that was on 3rd and 18. But now I want to show it from the other angle here. And I want you to watch Malik Willis, Willis's helmet here when he goes back to pass. Because I don't think anybody's talking about this. So he goes back. He surveys the field a couple times, right? Look at where he's looking this whole time. He's definitely looking off the deep safeties. Now, we know on this side of the field, Tucker Kraft was over here and Christian Watson's coming across. And the only reason to be looking over here, because there's nobody in a route over here. There was nobody on the outside of Christian Watson. Romeo Doubs is going deep. And you got a guy in the flat over here. And then you got the running back coming out over in the flat on the right here. 31 is coming out in the flat. Wilson. And so there's really no reason for Malik Willis to be looking over here. Like there's no receiver that's ever going to be over there. But he's holding off the safety because he knows he wants to throw this ball here. He's already decided I'm throwing this ball here, which is kind of a Brett Favre thing, to be quite honest. But let's watch what he does in a couple seconds. Now he looks back. He wants to make sure, okay, am I going to have this throw? Yes, I am. Now he looks straight to as far as he can, straight down, right? Is the stripe is straight. So even if you can't see his eyes, as a defender, you're seeing his head looking straight down the field. And if you can't see him now, but Romeo Doubs is streaking right down a little bit to probably about 2 yards to the left of the hash mark, the left hash mark. So the safeties have to worry about Romeo Doubs going deep, which is what's going to open up this Christian Watson. But watch when Willis throws this ball.
Hold on before you advance.
Okay.
I just want to point out Josh Myers is currently holding our right guard, Sean Ryan. He's just holding his jersey. He's not doing anything else. All right, continue on.
Okay, well, either way, we got some good blocking, that's for sure. Zach Tom over here. Rasheed Wallace is, he's got a lot of penalties this year, but he's doing pretty decent at pass protection, though this might be a little bit high around the neck. I don't know if they might call that one of these times.
He just patting him on the back? Like, good job, buddy.
Yeah, that's what Myers kind of does. He's not really great.
At least he's not puking on him this week. That's good.
Yeah, last week was the puke play. But anyways, watch his head. Watch his head and watch his arm. I'm going to pause it when he gets to it. Right there. Look where he's looking. Right? He's looking straight. Look at his body. His body is straight. His lower body is pretty much straight. His foot is actually pointing to the right. Okay? So this looks like, if you're a defender and you're looking at this throw, you're thinking, okay, he's throwing it deep to Romeo Doubs or something crazy, right? Now I'm going to hit play again, and you're going to watch this ball go straight over this way to the left. A no-look pass, a perfect no-look pass by Willis. And when I watched this film, I almost fell over. I was like, holy crap, this is some Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl kind of stuff here. This is an amazing pass. Look at that. He ain't looking. Perfect. The reason why Snead fell is he didn't think the ball was even over there. He had no idea where the ball was. Let's watch it one more time because I was like, whoa. And I don't think anybody's talking about this no-look pass stuff.
No.
But look at it. He surveys the field. He keeps the safety over there. He looks back. He's looking straight. He ain't looking at that throw.
So
that's crazy.
It is crazy, but are we talking no look pass like amazing, or are we talking just really bad mechanics and he got away with it? Because that's what it looks like to me.
He had his foot on the ground. Most Packer quarterbacks don't have their feet on the ground when they throw.
I mean, having the feet on the ground helps. It looks.
I'm saying
it like kind of across his body. That's not like a mechanic that you would encourage. So I'm saying.
I agree, but you know what Jordan Love would do on that? He would jump in the air or fall backwards and throw it. He'd throw it falling backwards, and the ball would float in the air longer. And Snead or somebody would have been able to get there and make the play. That was a rocket shot, no look, to the left in the middle of tight coverage after he surveyed everything and knew, okay, I'm going to throw it over there. It should have been picked. I mean, if Snead, if he would have, like, if you talk about Jair's interception where Will Levis just goes back and stares at the receiver for 2 seconds and then throws it straight over there and Jair's like, oh, thanks, and then takes it off and runs for a touchdown. And then you watch this play where Malik Willis is like, serve, I'm going over here. I'm going over here. I'm holding you back that way. And then I'm throwing it like that. And I'm looking over there and it's crazy. Now, he also had other plays where guys were open. He didn't throw it. This is his best play by far. So I don't know if it's something was planned. I'm assuming it was. because that was a great no-look pass on 3rd and 18 when the Packers had the lead, yes, but they had gotten a lot of penalties, a couple dumb sacks, a couple drives were ended. Now, they did not score a touchdown on this drive. They also didn't score a touchdown on a drive where he had a big, huge run for 30-some yards with Tucker Kraft leading him in blocking. And that they got to fix this red zone crap where they can't score because it's getting kind of ridiculous. But I'm just showing it because we've seen the play where he makes on the field running. We've seen the play calls where they don't block the defensive end. It's so fun. He knew he could make that throw. It's so fun to watch the Packers be the team that doesn't block the defensive end and make him look like a ding-dong, and then we run for 35 yards. Because usually it's our defensive end who doesn't know what to do, and then we give up a big, huge run because the quarterback's running for 35 yards. It's totally different when you're the guy who's running for 35. You're the team running for 35 yards, and you leave the defensive end unblocked. They do it all the time.
So you like this RPO stuff?
Oh, my God. I'm telling you right now, if Jordan Love plays, we lose. If Willis plays, we win. Period.
That's what the tale of the season, right? Jordan Love 1 start, lose. Malik Willis 2 starts, win.
And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just telling you, and I think we need to get into a couple things. Well, but you go ahead whenever you're ready.
I want to spin this at Mo a little bit here in all seriousness. I was just kind of joking around. Love is still up in the air.
Game time decision, they said
game,
today.
Game time. Lala likes to keep it close to the vest on that. He likes to play with people a little bit there when he can. But
Jordan Love will not play in this game.
No. Look,
Malik Willis has looked too good. He's looked too good, and Matt
I hope
LaFleur
he
will
does.
not take the chance.
I want a hobbled Love. And I don't want any excuses either. Like, we didn't have Jordan Love. That's why we didn't win. I don't want to hear any of that.
After you watched that play and you saw how the element that Malik Willis brings with running.
Physically,
Jordan Love cannot run like that.
He can run a little bit.
A little, no, not really.
Not like that.
He can't take off and run and get a big gain.
Aaron Rodgers at 35 was more athletic than Jordan Love at 26. Sorry.
So, would you rather? I'm going to ask you again. Would you rather face Jordan Love or Malik Willis this week?
Jordan Love. Change my mind. Jordan Love.
Yeah, that's smart.
Think about that, Packer fans. A Viking fan would rather face our $55 million quarterback than some guy we picked up 2-3 weeks ago from some random team for 7th round draft pick. That's what I want to get into. This, and I've talked about this for a long time. These prices of these receivers and these quarterbacks, and Mo knows, Justin Jefferson, holy crap, making a crap ton of dough. Now I watched the film. Sam Darnold threw to him 75,000 times in this game, and every time it was a first down or something big. Like, I don't know why nobody covers him. I don't understand it. He's always open constantly. Cover him. It's not that hard. He's not that big. He's skinny, but he's always wide open. He's got great hands. I love his hands.
He's wiggly. He gets open.
I don't know how he gets open all the time. But anyways.
That's all right. We got to cover this week.
But let's take a look at these two teams. Everybody's excited about this matchup, and it's because of two quarterbacks who aren't even supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Two quarterbacks, one of them who's been given up on so many times that going to the Vikings was like, he only went there because Kevin O'Connell was like, hey, I know you're my buddy. Let's give you a shot. I don't know. We're going to draft a guy, but we'll give you a shot. And Malik Willis is like, couldn't even be third string on a team that's 0-3 right now and traded for a 7th round pick. Yet those guys are undefeated. Those two quarterbacks are undefeated, but our $55 million quarterback lost. And a bunch of other teams with their high-priced Joe Burrow, 0-3. I mean, what are we doing? My guy, Justin Herbert, only got 1 win. And I love Justin Herbert, but something's going on. I don't know what they're doing.
They lost all these receivers.
I know, but when he was a rookie, they were like, bombs away. The guy's got an arm like freaking a crazy man. It's a rocket shot. Can we bombs away a couple times? They don't. Nobody bombs. Nobody
they got a hard ball
now.
He likes to run.
I know. But my question is this. When will the NFL figure it out? Teams win football games, not quarterbacks. Now, I believe quarterbacks bring in money, and that's why, and quarterbacks will save people's jobs sometimes. But when you win games, unless you got a Patrick Mahomes, though the Chiefs gotten every call in the sun this year, they've got two wins that should not have happened. They got the other teams got screwed by the refs as bad as Caton Clark did the last 2 games in the playoffs. She's out. I didn't want to talk about that. But look at these two teams. Look at these two quarterbacks, how they're not making jack squat, but they're winning games. And the coaches The coaches are doing it. And Matt LaFleur has been a Packers coach for 6 years. And even I, as a Packer fan, was questioning, I don't know, Matt LaFleur, maybe he's a ding-dong. Why? Because he had Aaron Rodgers for how many years who wouldn't listen to him and did whatever the hell he wanted. He's got Jordan Love, is he good? I don't know, but Gutekunst forced him on him, so he has to play him. The last 2 press conferences are the happiest I've ever seen Matt LaFleur after games, and that includes playoff wins because they ran his system the way he wants to run his system, and they won games the way he wants to win games. And when you look at Brian Flores and when you look at freaking O'Connell, those guys just run the plays. They run the system. Sam Darnold's running. Why? Because he's got no other choice. If he doesn't do what he's told, he's cut and he's out of the league. If Willis doesn't do what he's told, he's cut and he's out of the league. So they're doing what their coaches are telling them. The coaches are smart, and they're finally getting some cred. They're finally getting some credit for being good coaches. And I, for one, I apologize to Matt LaFleur for calling him a complete moron sometimes. He's only somewhat of a moron. So there you go. But I just thought that's interesting that as a Viking fan, he's more worried about Willis than he is about Jordan Love. Now, Jordan Love's coming off an injury. I get it. But whatever. And as a Packer fan, I'm watching Sam Darnold. He looks pretty decent. Kevin O'Connell is scheming up some good stuff. He's not doing dumb things. He's having very accurate passes to Justin Jefferson downfield. It's looking good.
He's doing some dumb things. So here's in each game.
Yeah, but at least he's doing something. Like Kirk O'Chains was like, I don't know.
No, I think I obviously been pleasantly surprised with Sam Darnold. You guys know I wanted them to get someone like Gardner Minshew or someone a little more exciting. I'm like, Sam Darnold. It was really hard to get excited about Sam Darnold, right? But then, they say all the buzzwords, right? In minicamp, like, oh, he's spinning it so good and he throws such a good ball. I'm like, what else are they supposed to say, right? Especially after they lost their rookie to injury for the year. So I'm kind of like, okay. But then, you watch him play and he does throw a pretty good ball. He's actually a lot more athletic than people give him credit for. And he's definitely a lot more athletic than Kirk Cousins ever was. So it's nice to see him kind of buy more time. And you don't really, I'm not used to seeing the Vikings having extended plays. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of fun. But he still has, I would say, in the sample size we've seen so far, at least 2 like cringe-worthy plays per game. Where I'm like, ooh, like he had one against San Francisco in the red zone. He threw a really bad pick. I know that Fred Warner made an amazing play on it, but even if he didn't, the guys behind him would have picked it off. I think it was just a bad throw. Another one where he tried to, shovel pass forward. It was almost a fumble. He got away with that one, right? He had a really bad scramble that it was on a 3rd and short. He could have just scrambled for the first down. Instead, he kind of ran backwards and then got sacked. There's just some things that have just been a little cringeworthy. Some he's gotten away with, some he hasn't. But so far, it's been at least 2 a game where I'm like, ooh, that's the Sam Darnold who had 23 turnovers at USC and, throws all these picks in the NFL. Like he still rears his head sometimes. And so I think Kevin O'Connell's trying to kind of get him into situations where maybe that doesn't happen as much, but I think it's still going to happen. So I think there's still opportunities. And to your point, Ben, I think you're right. I think there's sometimes you get a quarterback, they pay this money, they start to think of themselves above the team. I know you guys have seen that a little bit with someone like Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, where they just don't
a little bit.
Okay, sorry. You know what I mean. I understand where you're coming from. And you get a guy who's just still trying to prove himself, right? Then they're going to do whatever they're told just so they can keep a job. And I get that. You still need a functional level at quarterback, though, to compete in this league. I think the Vikings saw it a lot last year when, Cousins went down and then they're playing guys off, 3rd string guys, backup guys. Nick Mullins who's actually kind of fun to watch in a lot of ways, but also terrifying. But, it's just those are backup guys you can maybe win a game or 2 with, right? Josh Dobbs, but you need a guy who can sustain and run your offense and be at least functional at the position. And there's value in that, right? And is it a $40 million a year value, or can you get something like that for 20 and have enough supporting cast to make it work?
Well, supporting cast is the key. The Vikings last year, when Kirk Cousins went down, didn't have Aaron Jones. You
right.
already said they had Madison, who stinks.
Yeah.
And what happened when Aaron Jones was hurt with the Packers last year? Jordan Love looked like dog crap.
It was not good.
And it wasn't until we got Aaron Jones back and then Jordan Love. Oh, Jordan Love's the greatest ever. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because Aaron Jones is there picking up the blitz and making defenses worried because he's getting first downs when other guys wouldn't be getting first downs. And that's the key is you'll have money to get playmakers around him. If you run the system and facilitate to the playmakers, that is more exciting as a fan. I'm just going to straight up tell you. I mean, it's great to watch Aaron Rodgers throw a perfect 25-yard out pass to a receiver on the sideline who catches it and then goes out of bounds. But you see that once, you've seen it 1,000 times. It always looks the same. It's kind of boring after a while. No offense. But when you watch a guy do a fake handoff, he spins around this way, Bo Melton's coming around the corner, you pitch it to Bo Melton, and he's got 2 blockers in front, and he goes for a whole bunch of yards, and the next play, they fake it to Bo Melton and then throw a screen pass to Wilson, who runs it for a touchdown on a screen pass off the same play from the week before. You're like, what the crap? That's some cool stuff. And that's all about Matt LaFleur and his guys. And, you know, and Matt LaFleur has admitted, I steal stuff from other teams. Who wouldn't? The smartest managers and owners and people in all things I've ever been involved with always ask questions. Always ask, hey, do you have a better idea for this situation? Can you help? You know, what's your plan? Do you have another plan? And if it's and sometimes they're dumb plans, and you'd be like, that's dumb. But when I've been in charge of things, I'll always ask somebody, hey, if you think there's something better, you come and let me know. If you think there's a better way to do something. And sure, I've had people come and tell me stuff, and I'll be like, you're dumb. No. But I've also been, that works. Congratulations. You're not a moron. You know, and that's the key. So I don't know. It's an interesting perspective of, do you give the guy all the dough? Do you, and then you see teams that live in Wallow, you know, if they give, I mean, look at Watson from, you know, Wiener Boy with the Browns. What the crap? They're terrible. And Wiener Boy has just shot him down the foot. The Broncos traded away 3 first-round picks and gave Russell Wilson $1 million, and he's terrible, and they freaking cut him after 2 years. I mean, and they're how far back are they set back now? For like 2 or 3 years, right? And the Browns are set back for 2 or 3 years, even though they had Baker there. And I know
Baker,
he's
cheaper than 40
but
million.
Baker's making $20 million. Baker's making $20 million a year on a team that's 2-1 and doing pretty good. Yeah, they lost last week to a team they shouldn't have lost to. But that's all I'm saying. You can win with a good quarterback or a decent quarterback. And you don't have to freaking pay $1 million for these dudes. And the other thing is receivers. The Packers have 5. They have 6 really good receivers, period. And the Vikings are paying one receiver 10 times as much as all our receivers make.
He's worth it.
No, he's not. You can take him out of the game. And somebody mentioned that Matt LaFleur got Aaron Rodgers 2 MVPs when he had 17 and 33. Well, he didn't use 33 enough, first of all. And number 2, Matt LaFleur, I think if you asked him under a lie detector test how he felt about forcing the ball to Devontae Adams 25,000 times a game,
give him some whiskey.
I think he would tell you the truth if he had a lie detector test, or he'd lie to you and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, you got a great player. You got to give him the ball." And then the lie detector test would be like, "Wrong, lie," because what he's got now is what he wants. You got Tucker Kraft. Holy crap, Mo! Look out for Tucker Kraft. We've been talking about him forever, and now finally Matt LaFleur figured it out. And guess what? He's a freaking weapon. Look out. Okay, I'll shut up for a while.
All right, Wyatt's here. Yes, Wyatt, they're all on rookie contracts, which does help. But the point is that the way the Packers are using them, and this could change. We've talked about this before. None of them are going to have the stats or production to get paid like a top receiver if they kind of continue in this way, utilization of, you know, they're not going to have 1,500 yards and 100 targets. Like, that's how it's going to go. Will that work forever? Will they ultimately want to get paid and want, you know, all that? I don't know. We'll see. But can it work with a group of young guys to get to win a championship while they're still cheap? Maybe. I hope so. We'll see. Let's see. Oh, Wyatt pointed this out, Ben. Thinks you like to cheer for the underdog guy, and Willis was our if Willis was our starting QB.
I like this comment.
You'd be ragging on him in a year or two. Well, if he stunk, Ben would rag on him. Yeah. Right.
I don't rag until they get paid. If they produce and then they get paid and then they don't produce, I will rag.
I think that's fair because I think, obviously Aaron Jones got paid. And he also took a pay cut and they asked him to take another one. But you never wavered on Aaron Jones, right? Even when he got some money, right? Because he still produced, right?
Aaron Jones is the freaking man.
Right. Well,
the other thing is if you're like an awesome 100% awesome dude, like the nicest guy in the history of all time, you can't ever be mad at him.
And a great player.
What were they thinking?
Mo, you know what? Now we got to get into that.
Aaron Jones.
Listen,
Ben,
there's a letter.
This is insane, right? Aaron Jones stretch that you pointed out before. How the Packers struggled. Aaron Jones comes back, has that stretch at the end of the season through the playoffs, all those 100-yard games in a row. The offense looks great. Blah blah blah. How does that happen? And it's clearly displayed in front of you as a GM, and then you come around to the next year and you're just like, how does that happen? I know, but how does that happen?
Goody's hubris. Aaron Jones is not a Goody guy. He didn't draft him. He was drafted before Goody took the job. And I guarantee he was not a guy that Goody sought after when he was on the staff looking at players. And his great drafts of Lou Nichols and other Yahoo freaking running backs who he thinks are good that aren't terrible. This year's Floyd, who gets hurt all the time, awesome. He looks like freaking Tarzan, gets hurt all the time. The thing that bothers me the most, here's the thing that bothers me the most. As a Packer fan, last year we saw Emmanuel Wilson, who looked very good. He's solid. He was solid and good. We were happy with his play. We were like, okay. I understand. Like, even in the offseason, I was a little hesitant. I was like, I don't think they're going to keep Aaron Jones. It's a $12 million cap save if they cut him. I definitely wanted to cut Kenny Clark, which they didn't do.
How much was the cap save on Kenny Clark?
Well, they still saved the cap because they extended him, which paid him more money, and he's under contract for more years, which is terrible. But they still saved the cap because they extended him. They should have just cut him and saved $15 million, and then they could have extended Aaron Jones and saved $12 million. And
Smart.
maybe for like 3 more years after this year. But that's the point.
All right.
The part that bothered me. So, like, my thought was this: okay, I'm comfortable with Emmanuel Wilson. They can get AJ Dillon back for cheap because nobody wants him. I understand if for some reason they cut Aaron Jones because they're saving money because they're like jerks and they're assholes. Fine. And then you draft 2 guys. You had 11 draft picks. Draft 2 running backs. Throw them all in the mix. Find out who's the best one. I could understand that. But the signing of Josh Jacobs for a 4-year contract at $12 million a year after you cut Aaron Jones, so you use the money you saved from Aaron Jones to pay Josh Jacobs. And then you still have Emmanuel Wilson and sign back AJ Dillon and draft a running back. And then, what would have happened? And Andy Herman said it today, and I agree. What would have happened if AJ Dillon wouldn't have got hurt or Floyd wouldn't have got hurt? Emmanuel Wilson would have been the guy out because he's not the draft pick and he's not the guy who's been there for 4 years. And he's not the guy they signed to a big fat contract. And it proves how dumb teams are. When you have an established guy on your team, you know exactly what he is. You know exactly how good he is. And he's willing to play and is at a position that's undervalued by far. It's not like wide receiver with Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams, trade him. Get rid of him. I agree with that. Because he was good, but he didn't win you games. If anything, he cost us games because Rodgers kept looking to him constantly instead of running the freaking offense. And we know what happens when you run the offense. Oh, Jordan Love gets second in the league in touchdowns last year when Aaron Jones is out there. But that's the biggest difference. Goody thinks I'm a genius. But the biggest dumb move was when he signs Josh Jacobs, and now we've seen Wilson's better than Jacobs. Josh Jacobs doesn't see the hole. He's part of the problem in the red zone. I'm watching the tape. There's a play where the Packers double team block on the red zone. They're at the 2-yard line. They do a double team block on the one D tackle, a double team block on the other D tackle, and the left tackle kicks out the defensive end. And Josh Jacobs gets the ball on the quarterback's right side. So he would have to cut it back to get to that hole, right? He does not cut it back. He goes straight and follows this way, where there's a guy who's unblocked and runs right into him and gets tackled right away. Where Aaron Jones, he would weave and get back and boom, and touchdown, easy.
I was telling Jason just last weekend, like Wilson, every time he gets a chance, something good happens. He makes the most of like every opportunity. And I was saying in a lot of ways, like it's when Aaron Jones comes out and Ty Chandler comes in, all of a sudden it's like, does the defense relax? Oh, Aaron Jones is out. We don't have to worry about this guy. Then all of a sudden he rips off 10 yards. Is it kind of like that for Wilson, or is he just good? Like it seems like every time he gets a chance, he does something good. So I don't know. He just seems good to me.
He's good enough. I mean, the only thing he does that's kind of weird is he finishes runs really weird. Like he gets too straight up and then he gets hit really badly, like doesn't finish runs well leaning forward, but he's got good vision. He's got pretty good shiftiness. He's can break some tackles. He's got enough speed. Like he's just pretty good, and he's undrafted guy. He's super cheap, like whatever. Yeah, I like him. But it's sad not seeing Aaron Jones here. He wrote a big letter to the Green Bay fans this week. Ben, I know you had a lot from that. I don't know. It's kind of what you'd expect from Aaron Jones. He's an awesome dude and just said some really good stuff.
Yep. Really nice.
Now, Mo, are you upset at him for saying that there's still a G, no G on his helmet anymore, but always one
G in his heart? Yeah, no, I mean, I get that. I mean, that's where he got his chance, and because he was he undrafted too? He was or lowly drafted something.
He was fifth round.
Yeah, I mean, so
he was a 5th round pick. They drafted 3 running backs in that draft because that was when after they realized Eddie Lacy was a big fat donut eating piece of crap, and they're like, we better draft 3 running backs because we don't have one. So they drafted Jamal Williams in the 3rd round, who he's kind of crazy and weird, and then Aaron Jones, and then some Yahoo, I can't remember what his name was, in the 7th round, and he didn't make the team.
Mays. He was the big guy from Utah State.
Yeah, he's
So I mean, I get it. Like it's the team that gave you the chance. You were there for a long time. You're connected to the players a lot of players that are still there. Obviously, the coaches, the fans. Like I think that was a class act thing to do. Like I think it doesn't bother me at all. Does it bother you guys that he's looking to do a Lambeau leap if he scores on Sunday?
No.
Does that bother you? Okay.
No, because Aaron Jones is. I've said this many times. I'll say it again. Aaron Jones. Every decade, there's a Packer who is the quintessential Packer, who is like when you think of this guy's a Green Bay Packer and you rally around that guy, and there isn't a single fan who doesn't like that player, right? In the 90s, it was Leroy Butler. In the early 2000s, it was Donald Driver. And in the last 7-8 years, Aaron Jones. Those are the 3 guys in my lifetime that I was a Packer fan, because prior to that, they sucked really bad, and nobody really had. There was nobody around who could like kind of galvanize the team and be like that force that was always positive, always there for your teammates, unselfish, true leadership, true class, all that stuff. And the difference
sounds like
is
you're describing Rasul Douglas too right now.
Well,
Sorry,
that's different.
Too soon.
But Rasul was not. All 3 of those. Okay, first of all, Leroy Butler and Donald Driver were drafted as Packers, retired as Packers. And that's the key difference here. Ron Wolf forced Leroy Butler to take 3 pay cuts to stay on the Packers, and he did it every time. And then they forced him to retire. Donald Driver was forced by Ted Thompson to take a couple pay cuts. And then they said, we're going to cut you. Do you want to retire as a Packer and not go anywhere? We'll kind of have you out as like an ambassador and all this other stuff. And he was like, because they had just drafted Randall Cobb for, and all these, they had like all these different Jordy Nelson and James Jones, and they had like 1,000 receivers. And Donald Driver's like, you know what? I think I could still play, but I am getting older, and that's fine, and he retired as a Packer. And Aaron Jones was not given that opportunity. Goody and his hubris said, F you, Aaron Jones. I'm going to sign a guy who's actually run the ball more than you have in the last couple of years, even though he's a couple of years younger than you. Not as agile. We don't really know what he can do. He had one good year where he led the league in rushing, yes, but last year was awful. And they said, well, his blocking was bad. Well, guess what? The Packers aren't very good at run blocking either. Hello, McFly. But anyways, and because of that, the guy who should be a Packer for life isn't. And that's the part that bothers me the most, because when you realize these guys they're not cornerstones, they're keystones. They're the key point of the team. They're the guy who galvanizes all your fans, and just when you think, oh, Packer, boom, Donald Driver. Like, that's all. If I said Donald Driver to you honestly are like, even opposing fans like Viking Moe. When you think of Donald Driver, you're like, God dang it, I like Donald Driver. Even though you are a Viking fan, you love Donald Driver. I know you do. Leroy Butler, you love Leroy Butler. Even as a Viking fan, you love him because he's such an awesome guy. And now you definitely love Aaron Jones because he's a damn Viking instead of a Packer, which is a freaking travesty. But still, and that's the difference. That's the difference.
I want to throw one more in there that kind of bridges that gap a little bit. And I'd say Tramon Williams was probably the same type of guy.
Yeah, but they screwed him so early.
No, they didn't. He was 8 years. 8 years before they screwed him. Then he comes back. Then he comes back. And then he comes back one more time, and they just don't play him in the playoff game like dum-dums.
See, Tramon, the problem was, though, that
he was a super cool dude.
He was always overshadowed. He was always overshadowed by Charles Woodson.
Doesn't matter.
That was the problem.
He's still the guy. He was still the coolest guy.
There was never a point where he was the number one D-back on the team.
Coolest guy on the defense.
Leroy Butler was the leader of the defense, him and Reggie.
Always a class act. Great interview. Cool guy.
Yes, I know. And Double D was the number one receiver for a couple of years because
made the plays. Made all the plays.
Okay. Well, yeah, I know. Micah Hyde was great too. What are you going to do? He was only here for 4 years. Rasul Douglas was here for 2 years. And he single-handedly won 4 games for us, even though Goody said bye and traded him for nothing.
He's been targeted 13 times in 3 games.
Oh my!
Ooh, that's gone up a lot because it was only
like 2 times.
It's still not very much.
13 times, and Jair's like 21 or 22 times in 3 games.
I can go on and on about Aaron Jones, so I'm going to shut up. But
how about Jair and Justin Jefferson?
Oh, did you hear about this? Did you hear about Justin Jefferson's comments today?
Yeah, he kind of clapped back at him a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
He didn't even clap back. They were like, "What do you think about Jair?" And he's, in your matchup, and then Justin Jefferson's like, "Oh, I don't think about it at all." It's all Jair. He's the one worried about it. I don't worry about him.
Here, I'll read you some quotes. I'll read you some quotes from the article. I can actually pull it up too. If you want to see.
I think every time Jair gets burned, like has a really bad game against Jefferson, both times he's called it a fluke. Oh, this is a fluke. It's a fluke. That's like his favorite word. It's like, oh, it's a fluke. So we'll see. But
in reality, it's a fluke when he actually covers him.
Right. Well, and I think it'll be interesting because I think Addison, he practiced this week. It'd be nice to have him back, but Jalen Naylor's been good. They still don't have Hawkinson. So you really should double team him every time. There's really no reason not to.
All right, let's get to the dirt. Here it says Viking star wide receiver Justin Jefferson was asked about star. That's a loosely used term here. Packers cornerback Jair Alexander on Thursday, who mocked Jefferson's touchdown dance the last time the two players met on the field in 2020.
After he should have been flagged for pass interference.
Yes,
but that's
of course. Yes,
and it was really bad. It was really bad.
And then Jefferson says, quote, he likes to do that stuff to get inside someone's head. I'm not really tripping on that. I'm going to just get my gritty in his end zone. Woo! So I'm not tripping on it at all. I'm excited for the matchup. And they
Is it
say
just me who thinks that sounded dirty? I'm going to get my gritty in his end zone. I don't like that. I think he should have phrased that differently.
I just like to hear Jason say tripping on that because it sounds funny when he says it.
This text says, I'm not really tripping on that. I'm pretty sure Justin Jefferson didn't say I'm not really tripping on that.
I don't think you pronounced the G.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Anyway, then they point out week 1, 2022, Jefferson had a monster game against Alexander, reeling in 9 receptions for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns, where Jair basically covered him most of the game. After the game, Alexander called Jefferson's performance a fluke. Then when they met in week 17, they don't say how Jair didn't cover him that much, but they just say that he had just 1 catch for 15 yards, and Alexander mocked the gritty celebration right in front of Jefferson's face. Jefferson knows, this is a Newsweek story, by the way. Jefferson knows that Alexander is the type of player who tries to get under your skin. He also knows it won't work on him. Jefferson says, quote, always just trying to knick-knack at every little thing and just try to play the head game, Jefferson said. Just try to hit you a little extra or try to push you a little extra than normal people do. But I understand that it's a tactic. It's a tactic to get inside my head and to mess up my game plan and what I'm doing, but it doesn't really work. Jefferson even went so far to say, I can't wait to go up against it, honestly. While Alexander's mind games are one of the many reasons he's among the elite cornerbacks, this is a blasphemous written art section of this article. He's not among the elite ones. Jefferson doesn't even worry about the cornerback, doesn't even worry about the cornerback in front of him. This is kind of funny because then he says, I don't really care, quote Justin Jefferson, I don't really care about the matchup, honestly. I feel like he cares more of it than I do. That's every team. No knock at Jair. That's every team and how they scheme up against me and how they try to play me. So it doesn't matter if I'm going up against the Jair or if I'm going up against the worst corner in the league, which are very close in play.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, wait a minute, isn't that the same thing?
What do you mean? You got a pick 6 last week. Anyway, Jefferson's off to another great start, 14 receptions, blah, 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 blah. And there you have it. So,
well, and obviously in week 17, he had a third string quarterback throwing in that game, and it was just a very different game, and the team was in a very different place. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I like that there's it just adds a little bit to the rivalry. It's fine. Well, it'll work itself out in the field. I'm actually really not concerned about that at all, because what I'm most concerned about is whoever the Packers line up over right guard, mostly at right guard. Who would that be? Who would that be?
Wyatt is coming for you.
Okay.
Well, unless it's Kenny Clark, that'd be really bad. But hopefully it's Devontae Wyatt.
Well, because at right guard, obviously at center, there's Garrett Bradbury, who's gotten better at his pass sets. But Ed Ingram is at right guard for the Vikings, and he's definitely the weak link. Now, they figured out left guard. They got Blake Brandel. He's given up 1 pressure in 3 games and 0 sacks. It's been really good.
Nice, okay.
And then they actually have pretty good left and right tackles and O'Neal Harris. But it's Ed Ingram, who's like a third-year player. He's a really good run blocker and a really bad pass blocker. Like, he's just bad. Like, he has trouble against guys that have speed moves, guys that have power moves, and guys that are good with their hands.
That's all the moves.
That's all the moves. Yes, that's my point. All the moves he struggles with in pass sets. He had like 1 good rep against Dexter Lawrence. Otherwise, he just kind of totally got owned in that Giants game and every other game. So I'm most concerned about whoever lines up across Ed Ingram in pass sets. So let's read an Oren's. I like Oren's posts.
You know this guy, Mo?
I don't think so.
Well, he likes you. I don't know. Oh, he's a Viking guy. That's why.
Yeah. Ingram on roller skates. Yep. He's actually
here's the good news. Jason,
pass protection in the play action game because it's more like a run block to start. He does fine with that. It's just when the straight drop backs is where he struggles.
Here's what you should be worried about, Viking Moe. Are you ready for this?
I'm so ready.
All right. This is what you should be worried about right here. Where's the sound? God, there it is.
Are you showing your thing from last week again?
Oh boy. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, is it not coming through? Come on.
We're just seeing
hold on.
Ah, son of a. Start the show.
All he sees your Gmail.
Start the show.
I'll be right back. Here we go.
Wait, here, give me the share. I'll share something.
No, I'm sharing this.
No, I'll share something. You're taking too long. I'll share.
I got it. What are you going to share anyway, by the way?
Are you guys worried about Jalen Naylor at all? You guys know Jalen Naylor?
No, I ain't worried about him.
He's got 3 touchdowns.
This is what you should be worried about, Viking Moe, because the Packers are getting this now.
You're admiring my feet, all right?
Watch this guy.
Good.
Ooh, do you see that? It's different. Why is this happening?
Get set to stance, just like you're going to play in a game. Good. Push off that foot. Push off your right.
Stokes.
Stand here.
Stokes.
Teaching him how to play cornerback.
All right.
Well, why are they just teaching him now?
Because nobody taught him anything for the last how many years, Mo? We had Joe Barry. You didn't know nothing.
Watch him.
Push off that foot. So if he doubles you up again, you come
He
there.
said, Stokes, you did it wrong.
You're admiring my feet, all right?
Jeff Halfley, guys.
Okay.
That could be the difference.
Is that the difference?
Should be what you're worried about, Viking Moe, because he's coaching these guys.
Is Stokes good now? Is Stokes good now?
Maybe Halfley can make him good. If Halfley makes Stokes good and Jair better, then he's the greatest coach in the history of all time.
Okay.
All I know is we got 8 sacks last week, Mo.
8
You
sacks.
did.
Kingsing
sacks.
Anagbare, Devontae Wyatt, Carl Brooks, Preston Smith, even Rashawn Gary, who got there after everybody else, but at least he beat his guy. But he got there eventually. Oh, we're making hay. Lucas Van Ness overran the quarterback and still chased him down because he never stopped running because he's a white guy. Because he never stops running. He's a white guy.
He does try hard, but
Devontae Wyatt chased the running back and ran a 4.5
so
at
fast,
310 pounds because he's the fastest defensive end or defensive tackle in the history of football. And then he lines up next to Kenny Clark, who runs a 10-10. He's slower than me. And he gets his butt kicked. It doesn't even move. So, because of that, there will be open run lanes for Aaron Jones and open escape lanes for Sam Darnold because Devontae Wyatt will school the guy at right guard that you're talking about and get in the backfield super fast. And Kenny Clark will sit there and do nothing. And then Aaron Jones will squeak through the hole. And Sam Darnold will step on the pocket because unless Devontae Wyatt can get there and actually tackle a guy. Because the problem with Devontae Wyatt is he's so fast, he's out of control. So he gets back there and then he just totally whiffs on the quarterback. But he always gets pressures. He's got a million pressures because he's freaking beats the guy in front of him constantly because he's like a freaking madman. Mm-hmm. But he also gets tired really fast. So he can only play like 2 plays, then he's got to come out. Otherwise, he's sucking wind.
Can relate to that. I can.
Yeah.
I think this will be a good test for the Vikings, honestly. I mean, they've played a couple home games where there's no noise, right, on third down and stuff. And you know, those defenders don't get that extra half step because of the silent counts. And their only road game was against the Giants, which it really doesn't count if you really and they have a pretty good front there. They have some good edges and they did okay, right? But I think but they were kind of out of the game late too, right? I anticipate this would be a hard fought game, you know, bell to bell. I think so. I think it's going to be a good test, and we'll see how the offensive line holds up. We'll see how Sam Darnold handles pressure because I think he'll have more pressure situations in this one, right? There's obviously it's a ball hawking secondary so far in Green Bay, right? So are they going to be able to capitalize on those at least two cringeworthy plays per game from Sam Darnold? I've seen at least 2 every game. So you know you're going to get at least 2. Can you capitalize or not?
It's wild prediction.
So it's something that we'll see what happens. But I think, you know, if they can establish a running game, if they can slow down the Packers running game, but apparently you can't run block, but you've been able to run over everybody the last 2 weeks. But, you know, the Packers have played bad teams. The Vikings have played good teams.
Here's the thing. They could not run up the middle against the Titans because they're really stout in the D-tackle area. But they did try to get to the outside, which they did decent, but they weren't that great. The only guy who could move the ball was Emmanuel Wilson, who we all talk about how he's smart and he's good. The other problem that scares me a little is when they did run the ball amazingly against the Colts, who the Colts are known to suck at run defense because they don't get any penetration. They did a lot of moving. They did a lot of pulling guards. They pulled the center. They moved just Tucker Kraft in motion, and they pulled him, and they pulled this guy, and they pulled that guy. That works great when the defense doesn't get any penetration. When the defense just tries to get penetration with 4 guys, doesn't blitz, doesn't do anything crazy. Against Buffalo, he's going to have 8 guys at the line of scrimmage. And if the Packers screw up on one blocking assignment and the guy gets in the backfield when the guard's trying to pull, that messes up the whole play. It could destroy it either is going to be a huge gain or it'll be a loss. You know what I mean?
Outside runs,
that's the thing that scares me. It's not even outside runs. Sometimes they do plays where they'll pull the tackle or they'll pull the left guard, and he almost becomes like a fullback leading up in the gap between the right guard and the right tackle. They did that a couple times in the game against Colts, and it was awesome. But I've also seen them play other teams like the Jets and the 49ers where they try plays like that, and the defensive tackles get penetration. They beat the snot out of the guard, shove him in the backfield, and that guy can't even pull, and then that guy gets bunged up, and the next thing you know, Aaron Jones, this is last year, Aaron Jones or whoever has got a defensive guy in his face or his own offensive lineman as soon as he gets the ball in his hands. And Aaron Jones can squeak out for another 5-6 yards, but Josh Jacobs isn't going to be able to. Mm-hmm. I mean, Emmanuel Wilson will fall forward, but like that's the thing that scares me is the different looks that Flores has, it's if we do like Jordan Love in the second game last year looked pretty good. They figured out something. I think their protection scheme was much better. They understood how to protect it. I think Aaron Jones and the tight end stayed in to block more and keep everybody awake of what was going on, and they passed downfield. And I don't know if Malik Willis can do that same type of action. And that's what scares me is if Matt LaFleur tries to go into this game with the same type of system that he went up with against the Colts, I think Brian Flores' defense is going to eat him up because I think it's going to really take advantage of some of those pulling plays and stuff when they're going to leave that gap. And then next thing you know, that guy was going to blitz anyway, and you just left him a wide open gap to blitz in. That's what scares me going up against the Vikings D.
Yeah. Well, I think some of the when runs you do pull or stretch, you get better, higher risk for holding calls too, I think, in those scenarios. But I think it's, especially if you got defenders that are getting edgy on it and stuff, that it makes them want to hold. But I think that the strength of the Vikings defense is not their defensive tackles. They have, Harrison Phillips, who's decent, and some other guys that are better at run blocking, other guys are better at pass rushing. So they kind of cycle them through, but there's not like a guy like, oh, we got this guy can wreck your game. They don't have that kind of guy at defensive tackle, but they do move guys around a lot. And I think one guy I know I've talked about him before, but is Josh Metellus. So he's listed as a safety. But they usually have Cam Bynum and Harrison Smith at a starting safety. But then Metellus is on the field also. And last year, Metellus played 10 different positions on defense out of 11, right, for non-math majors. So they put him at defensive end, they put him at defensive tackle, they put him at linebacker, they put him all over the place. And all he does
you're
is make
saying
plays.
Your defensive tackle was way smaller than our starting running back? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and probably your punter and kicker.
Okay, all right, just check.
But yeah, so but I think he's just fun to watch because they plug him in everywhere and he just makes plays. Like whether it's he blitzes, sure, and all those other things too. But I just last game I saw him just shed blocks and stop a run. Right, he just knows how to play. So I think they just try to get playmakers in spots to make plays on. And the run defense has been pretty solid overall. It can be, I think there's some vulnerability there, but they really have to commit to it. And I think if they have Willis playing, they probably will because, they don't want him to throw more than 14 times a game, but it seems like. But so I think it could be a decent matchup for the Packers if they can get the running game going. It'll be important.
But that's the thing that scares me is like when we've gone up against guys who are quick, those are the ones that screw us over. Like when we played the Raiders, Max Crosby destroyed us in the running game. Like we could not get our hands on him, and he got in the backfield constantly and destroyed things. And with the Vikings, with their blitzes and all these, these like Harrison Smith can blitz sometimes. The guy you're talking about, Bynum or whatever, and your linebackers, maybe crazy Ivan, what's his face, is going to go. And
Pace is, yeah, he
hurt?
Practice. He's hurt. He missed last week. He might not play. But
so, like, I'm not worried about your D tackles. I'm worried about your blitz coming and. Because like I've shown plays on this where there's a there's a defensive tackle who's a quick defensive tackle who's lined up between Josh Myers and Sean Ryan. Okay, here in the middle, and Josh Myers is supposed to pick him up by moving over and blocking him so that Sean Ryan can pull. And what happens on the play is the D tackle does a quick move to the inside, and Josh Myers pursues too far. And then he goes through and he knocks into he gets to the backfield before Sean Ryan can even pull around and screws up the whole deep play. Like that's happened in week 1 and even the game against the Colts. It's happened a couple times because our guys are and he's the center. He hikes the ball and then should get his ass up and block. And he just doesn't look like if he just goes straight and get in front of the guy, it'd be great. But he like jumps to the side and just totally whiffed on a dude who is so fast that he went right around him. And you're talking about a 290-pound guy who was getting around him, not a freaking 230-pound safety or whatever, who's just flying right through him. So that's the kind of stuff I'm scared about is that our guys are too slow to react, and especially our offensive linemen. And that's going to just mess up the whole running game. The key is, can they set up a wall? Like I'm wondering if they're going to do, if it's Malik Willis, if they do some of that stuff they did last week with the play action or the read option plays, B-Flow will be ready for it, I think. But if they could shield a whole section of the defense, even with all those guys up front, and get Tucker Kraft float around and pick up the edge and have the wide receiver come and block the edge, I think if we see more Malik Heath out there, that'd be great because he does a good job blocking. He blocked on the touchdown run from Malik Willis this last week. And those are key plays, and those are key things. Like our wide receivers and our tight ends, at least Musgrave kind of stinks, but Kraft is blocking good, and all those guys are blocking good. And on the outside, like if they could somehow shield off all this craziness that Beeflo's doing in the middle, get to the outside and have our receivers block your wussy corners and crap. And then because all your guys are standing around the line of scrimmage, and then the guys that back up, like they're out of position at that point. And so if we can attack the outside and hold off the shield the middle, that's what I would do as an offensive play caller. I would try to, you want to bunch up in the middle there? That's fine. We'll attack you to the outsides. And then when we start doing that, then maybe you'll move to the outside and we'll attack your middle of the field on play action down the field because you only got like your safety deep, or I don't know, does he have a safety that sits back deep, like a 25 yards, like the classic Joe Barry, or what?
Yeah, I mean, that's usually Cameron Bynum's position there to do that, but they like to use lots of different looks. Certainly, I think they like to get really funky at the line of scrimmage on the more obvious passing downs. I think they play a little more straight up on the early downs. Well, sometimes it's Brian Flores. He does whatever the hell he wants. It doesn't matter. He's kind of crazy. He's kind of nuts. They were talking about like the end of this last game against the Texans. It was like a 4th down, and there was garbage time, and the backup for David Mills was in for the Texans. But they said, one of the sideline reporters said they were watching Flores, and he was just like, he was acting like it was the last play of the Super Bowl. Like they wanted to keep him out of the end zone. He went nuts when they held him to an incompletion. That's just how crazy he is, and how I love the passion, right? It's really fun to have something like that. And I think all the players get behind that too. And so it's been fun to watch. And I can just say, this is the way it's supposed to be, right? Both teams are kind of rolling a little bit now. They've had some adversity with just kind of different things at quarterback and everything else, right? But now they're both rolling. Now they play each other, and it should be a really good game. I expect it to be kind of good throughout, but then you're kind of hanging on every play, and I think that's what's fun to me. I think that's what makes football so awesome.
So couple of quick things for you, Viking Moe, for perspective. One, how do you feel after all the talk coming in was that the Vikings were going to be the bottom feeders of the division and they got nothing, and the Bears were all of a sudden a scary team. Oh my God, the Bears and all this stuff. And the Lions barely pull out another win to get to 2-1. The Packers are winning games very differently than we expected them to win games against bad teams. And the Vikings have played some really good teams and been in control of the games. Like they haven't been nip and tuck games. It wasn't a lucky win. It wasn't like the Vikings have controlled and dominated games against really good teams. So as a Viking fan, like where are you at right now after all that preseason talk versus what's actually happened so far?
Yeah, it was really hard.
Other than don't get too excited about it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was really hard pill to swallow, all this stuff about the Bears, especially. I'm like, my goodness. As I asked a friend of mine who's a Bears fan, like you still don't have an offensive line, right? I mean, they're like, no, we got this guy. I'm like, no, you need 5 guys because they're terrible, right? And you can see it now. They can't run the ball. Caleb Williams running for his life. Great, you got all his receivers. You have the cart in front of the horse. It's a mess. But yeah, it was hard to hear that. I think you mentioned how the Vikings have played. They've only trailed for 3.5 minutes, not even 3.5 minutes in all 3 games this season. And so I'm interested to know what happens when they get hit first, right? What happens when they are playing from behind? That's where Sam Darnold's been historically really bad. So that's why I'm kind of pumping the brakes on some of my enthusiasm too. I want to see how they respond in that kind of situation, particularly him. But I did say before, I'm like, when you think about the team, offense is really no different, right? They still have all their guys. It's the offensive line. They actually, you can say they improved, obviously, at running back with Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And then defense is the same, if not better. They've got some veterans in the secondary to help them out. And, they got the guys coming back. They brought in new guys that are Flores guys. And if anything, the defense will be better. And so far it has been. The only difference is they don't have Kirk Cousins, right? They don't have a functional quarterback. At least we didn't think they did. So they draft a guy, right? And I didn't think Sam Darnold would be like this. We didn't see Sam Darnold much in San Francisco as a backup. He played a little bit, but we saw him in Carolina. And everyone's bad in Carolina all the time for a really long time. It's just a dysfunctional place. And kind of same with the Jets. They had like no receivers. So it's fun to see him actually, and it kind of speaks to obviously Kevin O'Connell, but I was thinking everything's pretty good. It's just quarterback, right? And now you get functional play out of the quarterback that maybe we didn't expect, and now it's been pretty fun. So, and I looked at the schedule too. I'm like, man, we better win this Giants game because it doesn't look. I don't see a win for a couple weeks because those teams are good, right? But San Francisco hasn't won in Minnesota in like 20 years or something ridiculous, and they beat them again, and then looked really good against Houston. So I think it's a great measuring stick. You have to kind of say, hey, they beat good teams. Now they beat them at home. So this will be the toughest opponent we played on the road in Green Bay. So I think it's a great test. We'll see.
And as far as what I'm seeing from the early season NFL, and maybe it'll change as things go, is maybe the AFC teams are a little overhyped and overrated because we're seeing some of these AFC teams losing to NFC teams in these cross-conference matchups. And Bengals are 0-3. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe these teams aren't quite as good as everybody thought they were. And maybe the NFC is a little bit more competitive than people thought too. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was actually I want to give a shout out here to Andrew Van Ginkel, okay, because he's a Badger, he's a former Badger. There's lots of good Badger linebackers in the NFL right now. Been playing for a handful of years. They've been turning them out. Zach Bond, another one, but Van Ginkel, okay, he's got 14 tackles. He's got 3 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss, 2 passes defended, a pick, which he returned 10 yards for a touchdown so far in 3 games for the Vikings. And he's not even on the field all the time, right? As far as I know.
He starts, but yeah, he rotates out, right?
So he's making an impact. And he's a heady, good player. You got other guys. You got more Harrisons. You got all the Harrisons. We get the Maliks.
Yeah.
And you got guys producing as well, like you said, that you brought in. As for the Packers, here's an interesting side note. Ben, you mentioned Malik. We got to have Malik. We got Malik Willis out there, but we also got to have Malik blocking for him. Damn, why can't I remember his name? Help me out. Malik
Heath.
That's
Candy
right.
bar.
I love Heath bars. They're so good. Anyway, Malik Willis through 2 games, right? 25 out of 34, 73.5% completion, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 122.7 quarterback rating. That's 3 games played, actually. The rating brought down by that first game, even though he didn't throw any passes, but he came in for garbage time or for 2 plays, right? Or 1 play where he got sacked. So that hurt his rating a little bit. But his 2 starts, he has the highest quarterback rating of any quarterback who's thrown more than 10 passes in the history of the Green Bay Packers. I'm just saying.
That stat seems a little baked up a little
Malik
bit.
Willis.
I get it. I mean,
Better quarterback rating. Aaron Rodgers, that was his one thing that he thought he had. He doesn't even have that anymore.
Aaron that would be awesome if Malik doesn't play. I mean,
most of those
stats
stats you need like minimum a number of attempts. I
I
get it. No,
that's the whole.
You can't take away what he's done. He's done exactly what he's been asked to do, and he played great. So I mean,
he's run the ball for 114 yards.
Yeah,
he got 12 carries for 114 yards.
Why didn't Tennessee try to use him that way? Right? I mean, I think this is an extreme example, but so it'll jump down my throat. But I think about Lamar Jackson early in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Things weren't like so hot, and then all of a sudden, right? Harbaugh's like, well, I got to use him this way, even though it puts him at risk because I got to run him all over the place. But then he started doing that, and then it was like playing a video game for him. He was just a monster. He's been MVP twice. So you have to use him the right way. I think Harbaugh was good about changing the system. Tennessee obviously didn't do that with Malik Willis at all, and maybe didn't get a fair shake there. But you have to credit LaFleur. It might be painful for you, Ben, and it's painful for me to say. I don't like saying it. But he did what he had to do to win. He's like, this guy can do this and this really well. So that's what we're going to do until they stop it. And they couldn't. So,
and he's also run for 5 first downs on 12 carries. Just so
that's good.
So they're not like crappy throwaway QB draws or QB runs or whatever, where you get nothing out of it. Mo, what did I tell you, Aaron Jones, for his career, the percentage of times that he gets a first down on a rushing attempt?
Oh man, did you tell me this? I think you
I did
did.
tell you over the weekend.
Yeah, it was
think-
really high. It was a
I
high
think his
number.
first career is
It
like
was like
20.
was it like 30% or something?
Like 29%. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So far, he's got 11 first downs on 42 carries. So he's pretty close. He's a little below that, but he's doing pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good.
That's probably their blocking's fault. It's not his fault.
He gets basically he'll get you a first down every fourth carry. So if you ran 4 plays, if you do the math and you think math
Right.
is simple,
Just
you
run
hand
every
it
time.
to him 4 times in a row, you get a first
Yeah.
down.
I like it.
I don't
Well,
know.
then
just-
you'll never be stopped because that's all you have to do.
You might need a
Football
break
doesn't have to be
sometimes.
that
though.
hard. Football doesn't have to be that hard. Anyway, all right. All right. So let's give you a little bit. We'll give you a special fart gun salute. We can all have silent but deadly players. Even Moe can pull one out from his Vikings game. But we got to get to the big part. I got to pull that up here real quick.
I don't know where all that came from.
Well, it's all way down here. I'm trying to get to the fart gun because I have it sitting next to me and I grabbed it for a reason. And now I had to get it. So here we go.
And now it's time for the Hafman Bros Silent but Deadly Player of the Week.
All right, it is time for the silent but deadly players of the week. This week, a special silent but deadly, as we have 1 Viking player and 2 Packer players. Ben, I go to you first for your silent but deadly player from last week's game.
Well, I'm going to say, usually I always go with Tucker Kraft. I can't keep going with Tucker Kraft every week.
He's so good.
Or I go with an offensive lineman. I can't keep going with the offensive lineman every week. I'm going to do something. I don't think he was silent because he got a sack
Oh,
and he did some other stuff, but he had probably the best game I've ever seen him have. And he was just disruptive and got in the backfield a bunch and destroyed freaking guys. And I'm going with Kingsley Enagbare. He's my silent but deadly because even though he didn't get a sack on every single play, he got back there and just messed up plays constantly and forced Will Levis to do stupid crap. So I'm going with JJ Enagbare, silent but deadly.
JJ Enagbare, Kingsley Enagbare. We don't know why they call him JJ. We don't know why they call him Kingsley.
Because
Sometimes.
it was his favorite thing when he was a kid, a little baby, a
Okay.
toddler, was JJ the airplane or something.
How do you know this?
Because they asked him when he was drafted.
Oh,
You act like we're not a Packers show. I watched all this crap, and plus I loved him in the draft. I said the Packers should have drafted. I thought they were going to draft him in the 3rd round, not wait till the 5th round. They got lucky
like
there. Another dumb goody move where he got lucky somehow. Or 6th round. I can't remember where he got drafted, but it was late.
5th. He's a 5th round. I always remember
Yeah.
the rounds. You never do.
No, I don't
But
remember.
that's why we're together on this show, because we need each other for that.
Yeah, that's why. So that's why he goes by JJ, and he's been called by JJ. His mom called him JJ his whole life instead of Kingsley.
Well, I like it. Viking Moe, we got to sandwich our Viking between Packers because we can't go Packers and finish on a Viking. So I'm going to give you an
No,
opportunity
can't do that.
to give us your Vikings player, silent but deadly player from last week's victory. The Vikings' 3rd victory of the season. They're undefeated, one of the only undefeated teams in the NFL. What are they, like 5 undefeated teams? Vikings are one of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few guys I could pick, I think, but I'm going to go with a guy that you guys have probably never heard of because I didn't know him before this year either because he's new to the Vikings. But so Ivan Pace was out, their linebacker, and they had a guy fill in. I don't know if I'm saying the name right. It was like Grugier Hill. It's a hyphenated name. His first name's Camus, which is weird, but right, he played for the Texans last year, so it's kind of a revenge game. He got the start because Pace couldn't. He started the game off with that interception that was tipped to the line. When he got that interception, he had a tackle for a loss. I think he led the team in tackles. He played awesome, and that's the cool thing about.
Silent but deadly, Mo. The guy doesn't have all the stats and all the plays.
Well, he's silent but deadly because he came out of nowhere.
Came out of nowhere.
Okay,
He's,
okay,
okay.
No one heard of him, and all of a sudden he's making all these plays. He wasn't even supposed to start because he's not even a starter, but he came up and he played great, and he set the tone early. So I was going to give credit to him. So
Say his name again.
Grugier Hill. Grugier. Like part French, part not. There's nothing silent about that. It's okay.
I know, that's the point.
That's
This segment
the
makes no
punchline.
sense. We call it silent but deadly, but it's constant loud farts.
I was
Nathan
torn.
Bros. We make no sense, Mo. You know that.
I was torn by a couple of players for my selection this week. I'll admit, last week I didn't really think about it until on the spot, and so I didn't know who to say. So I think I said somebody dumb, but that's okay. Usually Ben has a better one than me anyway. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I just came up with it.
Good for you. So I was thinking about the Packers' best cornerback on their team, maybe being the silent but deadly player this week. Y'all know who that is. I was thinking maybe Malik Willis because he only gets to throw the ball like less than 20 times. So he's 13 out of 19 for 202 yards. And he also ran the ball 6 times for 73 yards and a touchdown. 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown. Much better than my fantasy quarterback. But instead, I'm going to go with number 31 on the Green Bay Packers, Emmanuel Wilson, who had 12 carries, 50 yards in this game. Coming into this game, anybody think Emmanuel Wilson is going to have almost as many carries as Josh Jacobs? No, they did not. But he had a 4.2 yard average. Josh Jacobs just a 3.1 yard average. Also, Emmanuel Wilson, 2 catches, 35 yards, and a touchdown in this game. Emmanuel Wilson, a good player who finishes runs weird, sometimes exposes his body and gets tackled, but damn it, he's good, and he's silent but deadly. Number 31. Watch out for him on Sunday against the Vikes.
Ooh, that last
And there
one.
you have the silent but deadly players from last week's game. We'll see who they are for next week when it's Vikings Packers head to head. I have a sneaky feeling that Aaron Jones will not be silent in this game.
He'll be deadly and deadly and deadly and loud and deadly, and at least I hope so.
But still a great guy, and we hope he gets the warmest welcome from the Packers crowd because he's awesome.
For God's sake, Packer fans, don't be ding dongs to Aaron Jones. He's the man. If anything, if you see Goody, give him a bunch of crap, and then high five Aaron Jones, even if he's wearing a purple sombrero. It's okay.
Yep.
Because underneath that purple sombrero is a green hair. I don't know.
Did he dye his beard a little bit, like with the little purple?
No, his hair is always kind of dyed yellow. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yellow works.
He does the bleach.
Both.
He does the bleach
Yeah.
hair. I did see something really funny. You know how he's got that really terrible receding hairline?
Yep.
And he always wears a do-rag to cover it up. I saw a Viking. They did the Viking helmet with the receding hairline and they turned the horns. They left the horns out, but they turned the hair in the back into like Aaron Jones hair, and then he has the receding hairline, like Aaron Jones. It was weird looking. I saw it somewhere. I don't know where it was online, and I was like, "Ugh, that's not good." And they were like, "In honor of Aaron Jones," and I'm like, "I don't think Aaron Jones wants that to be his honorable thing. Please stop."
Hey, Aaron Jones is the man. I hope he has a great game, and I hope the Packers win. But I kind of won't be that sad if in an early season game they lose and Aaron Jones tears them up. I think I'd be okay with it.
I would
definitely be okay with that.
I think a
But
home
the Vikings
game.
have to win because Aaron Jones tears it up. If somebody else goes
Right.
off, whatever,
Yeah.
then no,
I don't want Justin Jefferson to look good. I hate him.
No. I mean, against Jair, yeah, look good, but the rest of the time, no.
Yeah, that's true. See, that's the problem. Is do I hate Jair enough that Justin Jefferson?
I do.
No, I don't. I
I
don't
do.
hate him that much. I don't hate him as much as you do.
What if Jair gets beat by Jalen Naylor instead?
Well, he will.
He will. He'll get
It doesn't
beat by
matter who's
everybody.
lined up
That'd be
against
okay?
Jair. He'll beat him.
Would that
No,
be
it won't
better?
be okay. It's bad. I want the Packers to not get beat by them.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I didn't
Only
know.
if Aaron Jones tears him up, then
Okay.
okay, I'll live with it. It's fine.
Okay.
No, I think the Packers need to win.
Come on.
Well, yeah, they need to win.
It's a
The
home
home
game. They
game.
need to win.
The Vikings have one of the best and most consistent track records for collapsing the second half of the season. So if they get a bunch of wins right now, it's fine. They'll still have 9, maybe 10 at the end of the year. The Packers, they start off a little rocky. That's the way they roll, man. And then they come on the last couple of months, and then they end up with the same amount of wins, 10, 11, 9, whatever. So I'm not worried if the Packers lose this game. And if it takes Aaron Jones tearing it up, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Well, what's the score? What are we going with?
Oh,
Aaron
so bad at
Jones, 3 touchdowns in the game. And the Vikings win 28
Mhm.
to 21. Vikings win. Oh, with a missed field goal from the Packers kicker,
Don't say that. He's my fantasy kicker.
who currently has the same field goal percentage as Anders Carlson did last season for a whole season, 81.8% BT dubs. Viking Moe, your turn.
Well, the Vikings have a rookie kicker again,
So do we.
and but he hit a 58-yarder
I saw it.
last
He's
week
5 for
off
5.
the
5 for
upright.
5.
Yeah, he's
Indoors.
making extra points, which is weird for a Vikings kicker to do. So
Nice.
it's
So
been
we've
fun
got
to
Packer
watch,
too.
but I think there'll be field goals in this game. So, and the Vikings defense hasn't given up more than 17 points to a team this season. So I don't know who's going to play a quarterback for them, but Lambeau can be a tough place to play. I think the Vikings are going to score 24 points. I'll say 24 points.
21 by Aaron Jones. Well, 18.
And I think the Packers are going to score 17. 24-17.
Wow. All right. Oren Paul thinks it's 34-10 Vikings. Wow.
That's what I wanted to say, but
And JJ says that the Packers are going to stomp the Vikes. Darnold throws. I think he means Darnold.
I
Maybe
think
he means
so.
Darnell. I don't even know. Some guy's going to throw at least 3 picks, and the Packers are going to win 30-10, and they're going to have 10 interceptions on the season. Are you? That's crazy. All right, Ben. What do you got?
Isn't JJ the guy who drinks Lightning Kugels all the time?
Yeah, he's up in Chippewa.
There's too many JJs. There's JJ Ignabare, JJ McQuaid, JJ Justin Jefferson, JJ what's his name from
McCarthy?
the Vikings quarterback, who's not playing because he's hurt. There's 1,000 JJs. People need to stop with the JJ crap.
who's Darnell? I don't know who Darnell is, but
He's
it's
saying
Darnold.
Darnold.
He needs Darnold.
He's doing voice commenting.
Darnold.
Darnold
He's not Kirk
is-
2.0. He's not.
Two at a
Just-
time. Don't be
he has
talking about
mobility.
Jones fumbles.
He has mobility. Kirk
Shoot,
does not have mobility.
time. Jones is not going to have 2 fumbles. No. The Packers do not cause fumbles due to time. You know this. Come on.
They do.
Who caused them? That one, Keyshawn might cause one, but I don't think so.
Keyshawn, that one guy. There you go.
Quay
you
Walker's
go.
going to tackle him in
Xavier
the chest.
McKinney.
You
caused
heard
a
it here.
fumble one time. Xavier McKinney
one
did it
guy.
too.
Mark Coleman says
Oh.
26-17 Vikes. Mark Coleman, where's your Packer faith? That's all right. I said the Packers are going to lose too. All right. What do you got, Ben?
I'm going with
Todd says thumbs up. I don't know what that is. What's your score, Todd? Give us your score.
my
Yeah.
heart. My heart wants Aaron Jones to succeed.
Me too.
And there's not enough Packers on this team right now who have filled the hole in my heart that Rasul Douglas and Aaron Jones still left there. And I hate Brian Gutekunst, otherwise known as Bruin Gutenkunst. I hate that guy. So Aaron Jones needs to prove a point in this game. He needs to come into Lambeau and stomp on the Packers' face. And I don't know how many touchdowns he's going to have, but he's going to have over 100 yards rushing. And he's probably going to have over 50 yards receiving. And because I don't think the linebackers of the Packers can handle him. It's just plain and simple. And I don't think the cornerbacks can handle Justin Jefferson. So to be honest, I think it's going to be a bloodbath. I'm actually scared because the weakest links on the Packers are the strengths of the Vikings. And it's the Vikings offense against the Packers secondary, especially cornerback and linebacker, who are weak links. Until Quay Walker proves that he can do some stuff. And the only guy I trust is Isaiah McDuffie out there.
John's got it. John's back.
So, John's back. John's not even a Packer fan, but he's back. So I hate to say it as a Packer fan, but deep down inside, I want Aaron Jones to win. I want Aaron Jones to win. And the Packers can win other games. They can have 2 losses.
It's not a playoff game. It's fine.
They could go 15-2. Though they're going to lose to the Vikings in Minnesota too. So actually they're going to be 14-3, but whatever.
Come on now.
Aaron Jones needs to prove that goodness wins. Aaron Jones needs to prove that Luke Skywalker is better than Ruin Johnson, otherwise known as Ruin Brutenkunst. Aaron Jones is not going to do what Mark Hamill had to do because he was forced to and to play Jake Skywalker in The Last Jedi, the worst film of all time, and destroy a character that was beloved by millions of fans who understood this guy is the best of all of us. He taught me right from wrong as a kid, and Aaron Jones taught me right from wrong as a man, though I don't always follow Aaron Jones because he's just too damn good, and I'm definitely not that good of a guy. But I'll pretend to be good on Sunday. Aaron Jones deserves to prove that he should still be a Packer. He deserves to prove that he still has it and is the man. And way better than Josh Jacobs. Everybody knows that. Everybody. And when he does prove it, the Vikings will win 35-10. It will be a bloodbath. Aaron Jones will destroy everybody. The Packers fans will be freaking mad, but also happy.
Will Goody have to face the media after this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he'll have no, he never faces it. Matt LaFleur will have to face it. And then they'll ask him Matt LaFleur, and he'll be pissed. They'll be like, how come you couldn't stop Aaron Jones? He's like, I don't know, because Aaron Jones is really good. I wish he was on my team. That's what he'll keep saying after the game. And they'll be like, oh, well, what about Malik Willis? He had to play. And like, I don't know. Maybe if we had Rasul Douglas out there, he would have stopped somebody. I don't know. Matt LaFleur is going to be pissed, and he's going to say all that stuff after the game. 35-10. Vikings win. There you go.
You know he didn't agree with the decision to not have Aaron Jones on the team anymore. You know it.
He also didn't agree with the Malik Willis trade, but he seems to like it now. Remember how pissed off he was after the Malik Willis trade? Because they asked him about it, and he was like, I don't freaking know. I don't freaking know what the hell's going on. Why Goody's trading for some guy. And then he turned it around, and Malik Willis has been impressive. So I don't know. I just think when you combine Brian Flores' defense mixed with either Jordan Love coming off an injury or Malik Willis with 2 weeks of seeing what the Packers have done, I think Brian Flores can mess with that crap. LaFleur has been known if he gets socked in the mouth, if his plan doesn't work, he doesn't know how to adjust. And I think Brian Flores has a way to probably mess up with that a little bit. And Jeff Hafley's great, but he's never faced Aaron Jones before. And he's never faced Justin Jefferson. And if Addison's back, holy crap, and Naylor's doing great. So like they got 3 receivers who are quick and fast, and we don't have the guys who can match up with that. So I'm a little afraid and a lot afraid. I just love Aaron Jones. So 35-10, Aaron Jones wins. I don't care about the Vikings, but Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
I wondered who gave the. John was questioning what was going on here, so I had to tell him. Legit. This is normal.
Yeah.
Plus, the Aaron Jones is your favorite Packer and probably person of all time.
It might be normal, Ben, but that was probably the best score prediction. Well, lead up to the score prediction, I guess, that I've heard in a long time. I thought that was really good stuff right there.
Well, of course,
you're
a Viking fan.
No, not just because of that. I mean, it was heartfelt. It was motivational. It was inspirational. I'm proud of you, Ben.
That's what Aaron Jones does.
I am a leader of men. I should be a politician, even though I know nothing about politics, because I can make people follow me. I can say stuff and people will be like, yes. I can make all the sheep go, oh, yeah, that guy, he knows what he's talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm so convincing that I convince people that I know what I'm talking about, even though I know absolutely nothing. Though I know one thing, Aaron Jones is a super awesome guy, so he deserves to win.
Can't argue with that. Absolutely cannot. Aaron Jones is the man. Mo, you and the Vikings are finding out just how awesome he is. Congratulations to you for being smart enough to sign him for $1 million more than the Packers offered.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's so stupid.
It was amazing. I remember when they released him, like, oh, I hope he comes. I think I texted you guys. I hope he comes to the Vikes. And then like the next day, I was so happy.
And he's great on like turf fields and stuff.
He's good there.
He's good everywhere, but like every time he go on a turf field, he tears everybody.
I mean, he has lost a step. Okay. Like when you watch the last run against for the Vikings last week.
Yeah.
2 years ago, that would be a touchdown. Okay. He doesn't quite have the same speed he used to have.
Still pretty good.
But he still has the agility. He still has the intelligence to know where the hole is and to find it. And he just has like a good vision. Yeah. He has that feel and know where to go. And he can make guys miss. He's really tough for a skinny guy.
He still runs with so much power. That's what I'm intrigued about this game. I want to see the Packers corners and defensive backs have to tackle him and feel what that actually feels like, because they've never had to do it. They've never had to do it. And everybody else, you watch him against all these other teams all the years that we've watched him play as a Packer, and the way he finishes runs, he's not that big of a guy, but he's freaking powerful. And he always finishes going forward. There's only like 3 times in my memory I remember him getting rocked and knocked backwards. Like most of the time, he's finishing those runs off. Guys either can't get a good hit on him or he puts his shoulder down and runs through him. And the Packers are going to have to tackle Aaron Jones for the first time in their lives. And it's going to be not easy. They're going to find out exactly how tough it is. So anyway.
Well, we know from Zadarius Smith when he went to the Vikings and he was like, you kidding me? The first time they played the Packers and he was like, I can remember in practice, they were making me have to cover Aaron Jones. You kidding me? I can't cover Aaron Jones. Well, yeah, you can't cover anybody, but that's the point.
Yeah.
One thing real quick. Shoot, what's that? John, I think
John,
he said something.
what?
John.
He's all over Malik.
He was asking. He's a big Malik Willis fan. He showed up last week because he loves Malik Willis. So he's not even a Packer fan. He's a Malik Willis fan. So he jumped on the last couple weeks.
I like it, John.
He wasn't here earlier. John, I'm just telling you, Viking Moe here is more. He would rather face Jordan Love than Malik Willis this week. That's what he told us early on in the show.
Yep.
So that says all you need to know. He agrees with you, John. He's more afraid of Malik Willis at this point.
Lisa,
and to be honest, as a Packer fan, I would rather see Malik Willis out there too.
Me too. Yeah, because then we're going to run the ball all the time, and Malik Willis could run the ball. And Jordan Love ain't taking off and running for 40 yards or 50 yards. Lisa points out, obviously, the Packers can't put Malik above Love if Love can play. God, man, John is all over Malik. Are you like as related to him or something? Malik is a monster, he says. Also, John, Bills are 3-0.
3-0. Rasul Douglas, you got him, John. You know how much I love Rasul Douglas, John.
Bills have no receivers, Mo. No
Not
receivers.
a single one.
Josh Allen is a dum-dum. And they're just winning games by a lot because their defense is shutting them down. And why? Because Rasul Douglas takes away half the field because they don't even throw at him. And then all these other guys getting targets and the pass rush is getting there because Rasul Douglas is covering everybody. And that's what's happening. And the Bills are 3-0.
They got tight ends. Dalton
tight ends.
Kincaid and Dalton Knox.
Yeah.
They got the Dalton connections.
Josh Allen is still such a dum-dum.
He is a dum-dum, but he's big and freaking crazy.
He's
he
still
makes
pretty
dumb
good.
mistakes. I know, but he makes really dumb decisions sometimes.
Yeah.
You're just
They got
like
James. They got James Cook.
James Cook's pretty good.
Talented.
You can only have one Cook brother in the league with any talent, and as soon as James Cook showed up, Delvin's talent dried up.
All right. I'll give it to you, John. John says Josh is the best QBR in the league, playing amazing. Good. I hope he does. He reminds me of like Favre at times where he does a lot of good stuff, and then he just does something really dumb. And
I got to ask you guys.
Cost you the playoffs. That's all. I hope.
Before we got to go on for 3 hours, I got to ask you a question.
Oh God. Okay.
Did you hear the news? Brett Favre announced that he's been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to play the sympathy card now that he's in.
Can you believe that?
Other nonsense.
How do you feel about this as former Packer Viking Brett Favre might have Parkinson's disease, or he apparently has Parkinson's disease?
He claims. Usually you don't like come out and say those things.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Michael J. Fox had Parkinson's disease for like freaking 20 years, was in a bunch of movies and TV shows, and had to do stuff like and hide it and do all crazy and kept continuing to act for years and years and years, hiding the fact from everybody as a young man. Favre, his career's been over for 10 years, and now he's just trying to get sympathy from people, even though he looks normal.
Well, because he steals money he got in trouble for stealing money from poor kids programs in Mississippi and some other stuff, right? So now he's like trying to play this sympathy card. We see other people do it. Favre's just following that game plan. He was on a golf course with somebody like that not too long ago.
I get it's hard because he's had obviously a lot of bad press, right?
Yeah.
It's well documented.
How do you feel about that? If your former quarterback,
what?
Kind of a douchebag.
Well, I get it. But if it's true, obviously you don't wish something like that on anybody. That's terrible.
You didn't wish it.
Right.
No,
I'm not saying you did.
Okay.
And if it is true, it still really stinks for him and his family. It's, it's terrible. Terrible news.
Yeah.
But it's early on diagnosis. Michael J. Fox has had it for 40 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And hopefully, he gets the treatment he needs and he'll be okay.
And it's really bad for Michael J. Fox nowadays. But I've read both of he's had a couple of biographies and they're awesome. And he talks about what he went through, and That's one thing. Like, I don't read much anymore, but I read a lot of biographies. I'll say this: one of the best biographies ever is there's one. It's not an autobiography, but it was written with him helping, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's about Maynard James Keenan, the lead singer of Tool, and it's really written cool. Like the woman who writes it like a story.
John's on it tonight. Here comes the GoFundMe. Far.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know you watched read documentaries. I thought you just watched Caitlin Clark videos.
Don't even get me started about Caitlin Clark. We don't have enough time for that. But I will say this: I ain't watching another WNBA game anymore.
Right.
I mean, all I know is this, dude. I was excited. I was like, hey, WNBA, maybe they'll get it right. As a Bucks fan, for years, I watched the Bucks get screwed by the refs.
Yep.
Michael Jordan get every damn call. You breathe on him and it's a penalty. And I'm like, Caitlin Clark is the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. She came in, she turned all these people who have never watched WNBA in their lives
Right.
to tune in and watch it. Like, that's, if anything, she should be getting the Michael Jordan treatment.
Yep.
And she's gotten the exact opposite of the Michael Jordan treatment.
Yep.
She gets hacked and smacked and whacked and all kinds of shit, and they don't call anything.
Why do the Chiefs get all these calls, but then Caitlin Clark, you think they want to
Chiefs
keep
get a
her
lot
in the
of calls.
playoffs so people would actually watch it?
It's insane. It's honestly insane. And I heard something the other day I never thought I'd hear. And I am not a guy I am okay with every person on earth. Doesn't matter to me. But in the game the other day, there was a play where the announcer guy was like, and Thomas passes to her fiance, Bonner, for the layup. And I'm like, there's two people on the same team who are engaged to each other? Like, isn't that like, I don't know if they should be on the same team. Like, that's got to be a problem. Like family relationships can be a problem. That was an odd thing to hear. And not only that, there's a girl or a woman on The Sun who is dating a woman on The Fever. And she was a starter on The Fever for a lot of the years. In this last game, she didn't start. And then when she came in the game, she could have had an easy rebound. And she kind of like, and then her girlfriend got the rebound. And I was like, what the crap? I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff in the WNBA where like they're like helping each other to do weird. I don't know.
Right.
And the whole Angel Reese stuff where they were like letting her in the game till the end, even though they were up by 20 points just to get rebounds and crap. I'm just like, what is going on? I don't know. I don't think I can watch that crap anymore.
It's
and
crazy.
I love watching Caitlin Clark. She's exciting. I got excited about the whole team of the Fever. I liked all the players. I know all their names and all this crap. And I know names of players in other teams. And I got excited for some of them too. And a lot of them are good, like really good players. And they play good basketball a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they can't, like, they're just letting them beat the crap out of Caitlin Clark. And then they go on the other side on this game last night. They're calling whistles on the Fever on everything. Like it was 9 free throws or something to 29 free throws or something like that at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what is up with this? And they lost by like 6 points or something.
Yep.
And they had a chance. They had a lead with like 2 minutes to go, and they missed a couple shots and had a couple dumb things here and there. But I don't know. It's a little weird that the WNBA doesn't realize they have something that they can just sell, and they're purposely and they're letting the other players just hack the crap out of her instead of giving her the Jordan rules. Now, I know Jordan didn't have the Jordan rules his first year. It wasn't until like the second or third year where they came up with the Jordan rules. So maybe it'll happen next year. But I don't want Caitlin to have Jordan rules. I just want her to have the same rules as everybody else.
Right.
And
Jordan got a shoe in his first year. Looks like she's not going to get a shoe from Nike.
Yeah, well, she has a shoe, but they don't want to put it out because the MVP, Asia Wilson, got all mad because her shoe isn't out, or she doesn't have a shoe. And she's like, why is this girl who just showing up gets a shoe, and I am the MVP 2 years in a row, now 3 years in a row. And
there's just so much jealousy and cattiness.
That's the thing. It's like they don't, and I understand, like, and Asia Wilson said it had something to do with race, which I don't think has anything to do with race. There's been plenty of white women who have come out of the college ranks who just haven't had the same type of flair as Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's passing is crazy, and her shooting from far away is crazy, and that's the stuff that you watch and you want to see is good basketball. Now her defense is pretty bad and all that kind of stuff, but no, I wouldn't date Kat. What are you talking about? I'm a 50-year-old man. She's 22 years old.
He's old, John.
And she's like 6 foot tall, 6'1". I'm only 5'11". She's taller than me.
But you're
Anyways,
I didn't
I'm
know.
not
we'll
talking
just
about
see
all that.
we'll just see how
So
their
anyways.
ratings are the rest of the playoffs too.
Right,
Okay,
exactly.
The
John,
league is gonna
your
see
first
it.
comment, I don't want it. That's okay. There's been a lot of that lately too. I don't know about all that. I don't want to get into that stuff. The whole
Yeah.
the whole Olympics.
We weren't
and all
even
that.
supposed to get into any of this at all, right?
No. Well, I just thought it was weird. I was like, oh, this
Yeah,
person Thomas
Viking
passing
Packer
to
week.
her Thomas passing to her fiance. I'm like, what?
I started it. I'm sorry, Jason. I got him started.
Anyways.
Galen Clark. It's my fault.
So no
It's
more
okay.
WNBA for
He has the
me. I'm
socks
done.
and the shirt.
I don't care about the playoffs anymore. Who gives a rat's ass? And
Right.
everybody else, don't watch it so that they learn. They have to learn.
They should learn.
They need to learn that they screwed up big time.
All I know is there was a lot of contact in that game, and a lot of it on her, and a bunch of stuff were just no calls, like you said, and it seemed to be pretty one-sided. And I don't know how, when you have a star and a revenue generator for a league, you don't at least give them the fair shake. Like, how do you hold it? It doesn't make any sense at any level. Not from a basketball sense, from the sports sense, even sports purists or basketball purists. And it definitely doesn't make sense for the league from a fiscal sense.
Right.
And fan interest in the rest of the postseason. Like, you don't give them advantages and like help them get there like they used to in the NBA, which people got tired of. But you got to give them, I mean, come on. It's so blatant and obvious. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous stuff.
Well, I'll say this.
Yeah.
That game last night, the only thing for football fans, it just brought me back to the Mike Holmgren Seahawks Super
All right,
Bowl.
John's back on it.
And I mean, it's
This
ridiculous.
show is great. Hit the like and subscribe. Thank you, John. You're right. John's opinion matters. He's right. Go on.
Hey, you cut me off. Mike Holmgren should be in the freaking Hall of Fame. He got screwed by the refs. Matt Hasselbeck should be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He got screwed by the refs.
Same number of Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers. Hasselbeck should have.
That was a horribly officiated Super Bowl.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
Really
it was
bad.
bullshit. It was
And all
Bill
one-sided,
Cowher.
too.
Bill
Not-
Cowher needs his Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Jerome Bettis needs his Super Bowl in
Yeah.
Detroit so that they can retire. And even though they suck ass. Oh,
Well,
did I
they
say that
called
loud?
Hasselbeck for a low block when he was tackling
Tackling
the
the guy who
That
picked
was
him
the
off.
worst call
I
I've
know.
ever seen in my life.
There's a lot of bad calls. We don't want to get into
Yeah.
that. And
I
I know
know.
you're official. Mo, I almost went and did a whole cut up of all the plays last night, and I wanted you to evaluate all the bullcrap calls on Caitlin Clark where it didn't call anything and say, ooh, is that a foul, Mo? And you'd have been like, yeah, that was a flagrant. I mean, when you go up for a three-pointer and the person jumps underneath you and you land on their foot, that's a freaking
You
penalty.
undercut him. That's a foul.
Oren's been here out since the beginning. He's got to go. Almost
All
2
right,
hours.
all right.
Usually we end
Dude,
up
we
with
are
Iron.
going too long. It's because we got Viking Moe and he's crazy.
Skull it, Oren. Skull.
Viking Moe.
Thanks for
Viking
having me,
Moe.
guys.
Nobody
This
cares
one
about
week,
the
Viking Moe.
Cowboys and Giants tonight.
I'll give you some love, Aaron Jones, this week. After this,
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. For
Just do
Aaron
it.
Jones.
Yeah. I mean, he deserves it. In Green Bay, his first
Right.
game back. Give it to him.
gonna
Packer
be fun.
fans, give it to him.
wow, you just said that. It gave me a flashback to Aragorn in Return of the King when he turns around and says,
Yeah.
for Frodo.
Right. For Aaron Jones. That's why that's what I was referencing right there.
Aaron Jones is not Frodo, though. Aaron Jones is Samwise Gamgee.
Sam's the best. He's the
Yeah.
best Hobbit there ever was.
Aaron Jones is the Samwise Gamgee of the Packers.
Pints. They come in pints.
He's not Pippin or Mary.
Oh.
He's Sam.
Pint.
Aaron Jones is Sam.
Sam's the best.
All right.
And Aaron
Go back,
Rodgers
Noel.
and Aaron Rodgers is Sauron. Oh wow, jeez.
Like he's
And
like
Brett Favre is
He's so
Saruman. No,
old.
Brett Favre is Saruman.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Why you gotta throw a guy who has Parkinson's disease, throw shade at him like that?
Because Saruman has got his hands like this a lot. Oh my God, did I just do that? I shouldn't have done
Oh
that.
my gosh.
I'm terrible. Actually,
He does put his hand on the ball.
I know on the
And
ball.
there's, like,
He's
close-ups.
"Meh."
Close
Yeah,
ups,
it's weird.
The
Pictures.
Orc, yeah.
The
pictures that may or may not have been
I don't know, whatever
texted
it
to
is.
other people with his hand on the ball. Anyway.
Favre
all right.
always had his hands on the ball. Sometimes his ball. You got
Yep.
pictures of his balls.
Yep.
Now
right.
he wants to know who's Mary Pippin on this team.
Who's Marion Pippin?
I
Okay.
think I know who they are.
Packers, Marion Pip. All right, Mo.
Oh,
who you got?
on the
Oh,
Packers?
Ben. No, Mo, you don't
Oh.
know Packers. Ben, you take it. I don't know who this would.
Okay, Mary.
Dontavian
is...
Wicks.
No, yeah, Dontavian Wicks is Mary.
Who's Pip? Tucker Craft?
Pippin's kind of an idiot.
No,
So
Pippin is Valentine.
Yeah, Valentine. There you go. All right. We'll end with that. Enjoy
Why
the
not?
game. It's a nooner. Why is this Packers Vikings game
I
big
don't know.
matchup a nooner?
it's like being played in a lot of places on CBS too. It's got
Good.
Kevin Harlan.
Nice.
So
Kevin
Tucker
Harlan,
Kraft is Gimli.
Paul Allen, Tucker Craft is the man.
Tucker Kraft is Gimli. Sean Ryan is
Legolas.
no, he's Bruno or whatever. That one guy turns into a bear in The Hobbit.
oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
Bjorn. Right.
Sure,
isn't it?
Bjorn. Yeah.
yeah.
Who's Jaden Reed? Jaden
Oh,
Reed's
nerds.
like
Jaden Reed is like Legolas because he's like,
He's good.
yeah.
you wish you had
Jaden
Jaden
Reed.
Reed for as
I
cheap
do.
as he is too.
He's really good.
Jaden Reed's Legolas because he's just smooth, man.
Packers won't sign him.
Every time Jaden Reed touches the ball, you know it's just smooth.
And
Just
he
like
attacks-
Legolas walking on the snow and shit, shooting
he just
arrows.
plays hard. He just plays hard.
Yeah, but he
attacks
also
the
just looks
game.
good every like he never
I
looks
know.
bad. Like every time he has a play, it just looks cool. Like man,
Yeah.
that guy just looks cool.
Yeah. Stuff
The only part that doesn't make sense is he has the baby mouthpiece that he never puts in his mouth, and it just
It
flops
just-
around in front of his face the whole time. And I'm like, it's so weird.
saw Stephon
Maybe
Diggs
he
did
likes
that last week too. Like,
It
why,
has to
why do
be
you have this
really
big thing flopping?
distracting.
Just put it in your mouth. Or don't have it.
They don't
get
do it. I don't know why. It would seem to me it would be distracting, but
Yeah.
especially when you're trying to locate the ball and catch passes and stuff.
And you got
I just, you know what I think is
What do I know?
crazy? These
Yeah.
guys, they think we have a great show, and it's just
John
us.
said, "Great show." He says it's the
We're
best
just
show on
shooting
the
the
planet.
shit as friends. We don't even know what we're talking about half the time.
That's not true. We know.
I know. Yeah, we do. We do know a lot.
We
Actually.
know.
35-10. Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. I love how Aaron
John's
Jones
awesome.
wins. Aaron Jones wins.
F the Cowboys. Hope they lose. That's another good one. John's all
Yeah.
over it tonight.
Especially if they lost the Giants tonight. That'd be sweet.
Yes, they deserve to
Yeah,
lose
except
to the
stupid
Giants.
CD Lamb is kicking my butt in fantasy. Ooh, Malik Neighbors got 17
I was
points.
thinking about who would Josh Myers be. I thought he might be kind of like Pip too. Josh Myers.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Sean Ryan and Josh Myers would be Marion Pippin, but then I was like, nah, that's too much respect for Josh Myers to be Pippin.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I'm so
At least
mean.
Pippin's funny sometimes.
Yeah, Zach Tom is Faramir.
Ah,
Legit, like
Yeah.
awesome dude. But he's not like crazy. But he's like you can count on. You can trust him. You know what I'm saying? Aomir, you're talking. That's more like kind of like Keyshawn Nixon, kind of like Aomir. Like
Sure. Yeah.
he might screw some stuff up, but you know he's gonna freaking throw a spear and whatever. Yeah.
Say
Wait,
again.
who's Gandalf?
Well, Gandalf's got to be the oldest and the wisest on the team, and the Packers have no old guys or wise guys on the team.
They got some wise guys. Maybe just Zach Tom. He's like an old soul.
I mean, Rasul
And
Douglas
he's kinda-
would be Gandalf if he was on the team, but he's not there.
Yeah.
Douglas.
So the only guy I can think of would be, I guess, Preston Smith, but or maybe Xavier McKinney is Gandalf,
No.
but I haven't seen enough of him to know whether he's Gandalf or not.
No.
Hmm.
No, I don't
What
think so. I don't
if
think
it-
we have a Gandalf. We just don't.
No.
And Boromir, that's probably
Maybe Jeff Halfley is Gandalf.
Jeff Halfley is
The
Gandalf.
Halfley, because he's cleaning up these scrubby cornerbacks and making them serviceable at least. Trying to teach him
Hey.
how to change direction when a guy jukes you. Like,
What
how
did
the
you
hell was
guys-
that not taught to you so
Yeah, I
many
don't
years ago? Continue on.
Hey, quick question that was going to make us go for another hour.
No.
Oh, no.
Did you see the Matt LaFleur interview when the fire alarm went off, and then he was like, hey, they told us that if we won this game, we'd burn down the place, so and stuff. And it was just weird. Like he was acting like they won the Super Bowl against like the greatest team ever, and they just beat a crappy ass team that has 0-3, talking shit. It was a weird. And people were like, "Oh yeah, Matt LaFleur," and I'm like, that was not cool. It was not a good line.
He's
was
kinda-
not funny.
He tries to be funny. He's not.
He
usually.
tries. He's definitely not me. Let's just face it. He's not a public speaker.
Yeah.
He just isn't.
No,
I mean,
he's
come on.
terrible He's like really uncomfortable most of the time.
Really
He can't
uncomfortable.
string sentences together,
But like I said, I'm going to give him some credit. Last 2 weeks,
but he loves
Yeah,
Aaron
some-
Jones.
he had some good. He does love Aaron. You like Aaron Jones? He says Aaron Jones. is a great man, and he is a great
Favorite.
He
his
should
favorite,
hire you as his public relations person.
There you go.
Man. He should. First
But
thing
then
I
you
would
get
do.
fired because then you'd say how much you hate the general manager, and then you get fired.
Well, the first thing I do is I tell him to grow his eyebrows out more like Gandalf, so they were crazy because he's got those thick black eyebrows and he cuts them and he like does a perfect. I don't know, they're just too perfect and weird looking.
They're not
It's like,
wide enough.
There's two
No.
different ways to be weird looking. There's like I once worked with a guy who never ever shaved his or cut his eyebrows down, and they were like caterpillars, and then he had like ear hair that was like caterpillar hair coming out of his ears, and he was like 50 and some years old. And I was like, dude, we got to do something about this. And then he all of a sudden he came in one day and his brows were cleaned up and his ear hair was gone. And I'm like, what happened here? And he's like, I got a girlfriend. She took care of me. And I'm like, dang, nice job, buddy. You don't look as scary anymore. But anyways, I'm just saying that's one weird way to do it. And then there's the Matt LaFleur way where he's just way too proper and everything's trimmed up perfect and it's too perfect and it just looks weird.
Like
It's
it's a little
not,
too metro.
not natural. Like you
or
find the difference between natural and weird. Like you don't want to look like a freaking hairy monster, but you also don't want to look like you spent 5 hours trimming your brows.
like too groomed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because it looks like he spends more time on his eyebrows than he does on the game plan. That's a little scary. As a fan, I want my coach. I wanted to look more like Mike McCarthy. You know, he ate a lot of late burgers, stayed up late studying. Or wait, getting his back rub. That's right. I forget it. Forget it.
Oh,
Not Mike McCarthy.
those are all rumors, not necessarily corroborated. Just saying. All right, McCarthy Magic is going to be done after this season, or maybe by midseason if they keep it up.
Well, they're winning right now, so I was just.
Mike Zimmer might get fired again.
Mike Zimmer might take over as head coach, interim head coach.
Not after last week.
His defense has been getting shredded.
It's because they don't know how to play. He's got a bunch of dum-dums who don't know how to play. They're talented, but they don't know how to play. All right. John wants us to check on this kid. He's the next Packer future running back. Amarian Hampton, he says. Running back of the future for the Pack. We'll see. Highlights, love the kid. Thank you, John. Malik Willis is our quarterback of the future. He's going to win another game. 3. All right. I'm just going to say this. If Jordan Love starts, Packers lose. If Malik Willis starts, Packers won't lose as bad.
Oh, okay.
As long as Aaron Jones wins.
As long as, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. If it's like some other schlubby Viking,
I want it to be a really. I don't want it to be 35-10. That's terrible. I'd rather have it be like 35-27 or something. Like I want it to be a good game. I don't want the Packers to look like. But I want Aaron Jones to kind of like seal the win with like a crazy run, like the Vikings. It's like 4 minutes left in the game, or 2 minutes, whatever, 3 minutes left in the game, and Packers they used up all their timeouts, and Vikings need a first down, and it's like 3rd and 8, and instead of passing it, they have to run, and Aaron Jones makes freaking like Kenny Clark totally whiff, and then he freaking schools freaking Jair in the corner and just shoves him like a little chump ass bitch, and then runs for freaking like 20 yards and stays in bounds, and then that seals the game.
I'm gonna like to see Jair try to tackle Aaron Jones. It's gonna be good. Now listen, here's the one thing I'll say. This could actually, if that all happens, it could actually be positive for the Packers and help the team in the long run because it will expose the defense for what it is, legitimately, and it also force the coaches to be like, hey, these guys who are underperforming, I don't care they get paid all the money. We got to change it up here. We got to give some other guys a shot.
We'll see if I don't think that'll happen.
With Halfley and with LaFleur being as pissed as he is at Gutekunst, there is friction there with the moves that were made. He might grow a pair and be like, we're playing these dudes, Gutekunst. I don't give a crap who you drafted and who you gave a bunch of money to.
Well, if he grows a pair, we know they'll be well groomed.
That's right.
That's true. He probably has, what's that, the Weed Whacker 9000?
No, it's a Floby. You Floby that stuff. You remember the Floby? That's legit.
I don't remember that.
Well, because it sucks up the mess. It cuts and sucks it in at the same time. So you don't have the.
That sounds like something a little naughty, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the Floby. Did you ever see that? You give yourself your own haircut. It sucks up your hair into the thing. It cuts it, and then the hair trimmings get sucked into the device.
Okay, all right. You say so.
They don't go flying all over the place.
That sounds a little weird.
I would assume that Floby work down below would work very well. Then you wouldn't.
That would be the below bee. which even sounds worse.
All right, I think we officially lost every viewer now. So.
We gained one.
We gained one.
Although John says he's got to go. John, you got
Yeah.
chemo in the morning? All right. Kicking ass, taking names. All right,
Good luck,
John. Go
John.
get
Do
it.
your best,
Hang in there,
man.
John. Hang
Hang
in
in
there,
there,
John.
bud.
A good one. Bills 4-0 after this week, too. All right. Everybody be good. Stay good. Watch the Packers Vikings and watch everybody cheer for Aaron Jones. There should be no people
For
who are
Aaron
not Aaron
Jones.
Jones fans. Viking Moe, thanks for your time.
Thanks for
and
having
your
me.
insight. All right. Everybody be good. Stay good. I got to hit the outro here. Ben likes it so much.